Okay. Oh, wait, we're actually live already? Oh, snap. Well, let me live too. Let me do the I'm just not gonna do an intro. I mean, you didn't do an intro. Oh, no, no, I can't live yet. I don't have you set up. You can guess what happened because I wasn't pressing the pause button on the left-hand side. I was pressing the stop button, and because I wasn't thinking straight, I pressed it twice. Motor stop. All I just remember is just seeing. I'm like, oh, then boom, I hear the noise because I have the goggles on, right? And I walk over there. My DJI FPV is all over the pavement, and this is like their first 30 seconds of flying FPV. So I was heartbroken, man. So, but luckily, hey, it's okay. I bought the DJI Care. We're okay. I walked up to my wife, and I had all the parts put in my backpack, custom backpack that I got, my nice little backpack. And she's like, "Oh, hey, babe, how was flying? Did you enjoy it?" I was like, "I want to go home. I want to go home right now. I want to go home." So I send it to DJI, and it turns out the price is this. Like, so they tell me, "Oh, if you want to use the DJI Care, it's going to be 1,400 RMB, which is about 200-ish bucks. Or we can repair it for you for 1,300 RMB." I'm like, what? I thought I got the DJI Care. That doesn't feel like very care. So I realized at that point in time, it was all or nothing. I mean, I was devastated, and so I was just like, if I don't learn how to repair my own drones, I am not going to be able to continue doing this because I've already put my family in financial strain over buying this toy essentially. So that was when I sold the DJI FPV. I took the like 2,000 RMB hit to just pretty much just a loss right off the gate, and I bought the Nazgul 5, and then the rest is I'll leave the rest up for that. But yeah, that's pretty much the story of me getting an FPV. I was scared of the lipos. That's why I didn't do DIY FPV in the beginning, because I was just like I was terrified of these lipo batteries. I saw so many videos right of lipo house fires, and I'm like, I don't want that. Spicy food.
Mercury Moise said. On mute Toronto.
Okay, now you can hear me, and I can hear my bloody self. Okay, they can hear me now. I think they can hear me now. I can
Yeah.
still hear you. Very good. Thank you,
Yeah, good to go.
people.
Okay, the audio on his stream has none, but there's audio on this one.
Now
Okay.
we
Well,
should
yeah,
all
just
be able to hear each other now.
good. Yeah, never hesitate
Dorfmeister
to call out bad
said,
audio. I was
better.
on
Car
eDrone
guy for
stream,
life
and I was ranting about how
said,
I just bought this
You're
microphone.
good
I
now
was ranting about how
Toronto
good this
FPV.
microphone was, and he's like,
Mercury
oh wow,
Moise
that's really good for you,
said,
Johnny. I watched the stream back and
yes.
realized I had the wrong microphone the whole time. I was using my Blackmagic microphone, and it sounded like garbage for half the stream. People probably thought I was an idiot.
Now,
I mean,
can people hear the speech chat talking or no? That's the other question.
I cannot, but I'm not watching your stream. You'll have to ask them.
Let me see if I can make that quiet. Do you know how to make speech
John
chat
Cuppy
quiet?
said, I can hear you now on this one.
What is causing the speech?
Mercury
chat,
Moise
speech chat
said,
what is causing it?
Yup.
Your Prism?
Dorfmeister said,
Yes,
yes, can hear it.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna figure out how to make so that I don't hear what they are saying, so I can just see it but not hear it.
Mercury Moise
I'll get these
said,
questions ready.
I'm
as
a
well.
robot.
Oh man. How do I shut the audio off on this thing? If I turn off the audio from the computer, then I lose your audio. Control panel.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind over here, man. I'm telling you what. Good and bad. Mostly good though. My wife just told me yesterday. She's like, you just need to keep quitting FPV, because every time you like want to quit and like you've had enough, the next day everything just turns around. Just keep quitting. Every week I'll have a video. This is goodbye. How many YouTubers
Mercury
do that?
Moise
Okay. What's it
said,
doing again? Oh yeah, the questions.
Cyborg
Okay, yeah,
I've been called worse.
Right here. I got your questions up. My questions are very personal, like extremely. I'm just joking. No, they're not personal.
I have like no whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, how do you turn the audio off on
Dorfmeister
a page?
said,
Oh, Toronto's
never
FPV speech to
surrender.
audio is not audible on the
Car
DX
guy
stream.
for
It was
life
audible on
said,
Toronto's stream a few seconds ago. What do you
can
think of
still
it, car
hear
guy? Do you think
text
it's
to
a good thing or a bad
speech.
thing? Am I drinking glue? No. Actually, a little pro tip for streaming here. Any streamers out there, you can get this kind of like herbal molasses gunky stuff that absolutely looks like glue. But it coats your mouth and coats your throat so you don't get dry mouth, right? So that when you're talking and stuff, you don't catch up too much. I forget to hydrate, and if you hydrate the night before a stream, then you'll be much better off. It's just some like voice acting advice back in my days of voice acting.
Okay, I got rid of the audio. I'm just using the Prism chat now, which should be good.
I'm over here huffing glue, man.
Oh no, where is it? Did it go to the top of the other screen?
There we go.
There it is.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, very good. Can
Oh.
everybody hear everything?
Yeah, you've been good on this stream. Just giving a check 1 2 3.
Yeah, people.
There you are.
Tell me, do you hear both of us well? I told my wife to stay at the mall till it closed. Like you said, you started playing video games with your wife. I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You have one of the cool ones. I have a good cook, but she doesn't.
Oh, but hey, that's dangerous for me.
Me too.
Every man my mom was ever married got fat because she was a great cook.
Okay.
But that is dangerous,
I just did a 15-day fast, so.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I could do that. That's
Nice.
too much for me, man.
I don't know.
That takes a level of discipline.
Mr. Peace did 14, so I'm like, I'm going to do 15. Oh, okay. So.
Okay, this sounds great.
Very good.
All right.
We're on to question number 2.
Well, should I ask?
Or you can ask me something.
Okay, you're going to ask all.
Well, we can do both.
Yeah,
ask me
yeah,
something. If you want to ask me something, go for it.
Okay, we'll do tit for tat then, because you told me 10 questions.
Well, I was just like,
always
we need something to
accomplish
do
my
for an
homework.
hour, right? So.
That's true. That's true.
The next thing you know, we're gonna be
here's a
up all night.
It's pretty standard. I'm not gonna lie. But okay, what lights your fire in FPV?
Oh,
Get you going.
everything,
like, oh,
everything
man,
I hate.
What do you mean by that?
Like I go nuts when I see bad design or wasted space. Like
no, sorry. That's actually question number 2. Sorry, question. When I say light your fire, I mean like what
excites me.
It lifts you up from the darkness. Yeah, what lifts you up from the darkness, right?
To be able to fly.
Times are tough.
To be able to fly, like the moment you start doing it, it's like we've all had dreams of flying. I'm a hairdresser, so I was cutting this rich guy's hair before, and he told me like, "Oh, I learned to fly airplane. It's only $7,000. You should do it too." And it's just like, I don't have $7,000 to spend on flight lessons, and basically, just being able to fly. Like, how can you not have that once you start? Like the moment you break something, I just order the next part because it's like you can't not fly. It's like not having a car. Or
yeah. No, it starts to feel like an extension, right? An extension of you.
Yes.
Like I can't do without it either. If I don't fly for too long, I get pretty grumpy.
It's winter now, though, so.
Well, so what? Actually, sorry. I'm gonna ping you another question. I'm gonna cheat. But like that's something that I don't really understand because I've lived in an area that's been pretty like hot for a long time, and so people say stuff like that, and I don't understand. Why can't you just fly out in the snow? Can't you just like conformal coating your junk and whatnot?
It's just not enjoyable. Like it's like you don't want to fly with gloves. Like it's just like you don't want to do anything with gloves except for ski or maybe snowboard.
Yeah.
The moment you put
That's
gloves
mostly with
on,
your feet anyways.
you can't feel.
Yeah.
Your lipos start puffing easily. Like the other day, I'm like, I'll pull out my 900s, and because I'm flying usually like now I like flying 650s, 4S, and
Or S.
I pulled out my 900s. I'm like, let's test them out, get like a good flight, and they flew for like 2 minutes because it's too cold, so it just
Wow.
saps the unless you heat up your batteries, they're not gonna fly as long.
Well, like, can't you just get like a little battery bag and then like a hand warmer or something like that?
Oh,
I guess it's
I
just more steps and more things in the way, right?
I actually here. So I designed. I haven't made the lid yet, but basically, I designed this. It's just a cube, and it's just the right thickness to stick the hand warmer in. So you stick the hand warmer in, you turn it on, and then you take a battery, you stick it in, and the hand warmer heats up the battery. So you're good to go.
Sorry. I'm having a little midlife crisis here with my audio. I was trying not to disturb you, but it's like it can't be helped. Can you give me a check? 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Hear me? Hola, hola. Senior quads.
There we go. Okay, you're back. Sorry, my headset died as you were telling me your answer. My bad.
But am I
First world
echoing?
problems.
Yeah, now I'm
You
hearing
shouldn't
my
be
voice.
echoing.
I'm hearing my voice on your mic on your things.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Do you have wired microphones or only the wireless stuff? Oh, you got
Okay, just
that.
give me 1 sec.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I do. I just gotta find the dang thing, jobber.
You mailed your wife. You mauled your wife. You have to go easy on us. It's office time.
Yeah. Well, I'm not used to. Yeah, I got this here, doodly flopper. You gotta have a doodly flopper or two. It's a must, right? Absolute must. Okie
Yes,
dokie.
baby.
Who are you talking to?
Oh.
Let me have some.
Who are you talking
I'm talking to Dr. Quads.
I didn't drink all of that. Mommy drank most of it.
Of course.
In real life?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He builds
Okay,
quads
you there?
too. Mm-hmm.
Oh crap! It'd help if
Are quads type of drone frames that you can make drones? Can you tell him that do
Of course.
do you have a
Check.
3D
Checkity check
printer
check.
also?
No. All right, sorry. I'm just gonna have to. We're just gonna have to deal with the echo just a little bit for now.
Okay.
And I'll just charge these things up. They charge pretty fast. The echo shouldn't be too bad. I have noise cancellation on this
Okay.
anyways. Yeah, let's just crack on. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Getting down.
What's your favorite
Get
quad?
super close to the mic.
Other than anything you built or
My-
designed?
That's a tough question. um. I would say as much like quad that I've flown personally or quad that I'm interested in just by looking at it.
I'd say
My-
no, because it's just like before we started building our own quads, we flew quads, and it's like which one is like maybe close to your heart, or like the one that kind of like the first one that you really like enjoyed or clicked with.
I think the Nazgul, the original Nazgul Evoke,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the Nazgul Evoke it was pretty good quad. Like the design was really clean. At the time, no one was really doing like the kind of stuff that iFlight was doing with like the LEDs inlaid into the side plates and stuff like that. So it was really like DJI level design, of like integration that was really nice, and it flew really great too. So it was a good quad. It was definitely worth the money. I wouldn't want to give them my money now, but back in the time.
Are the levels low for Dr. Quad, or are they low for me?
No, the levels are low for morons like me who don't have it set up correctly. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry. He asked me which quad. He should be good now. Sorry. So yeah, he's good now. My bad. Thank you, Veritas Weasel. Always call out the audio issues. My bad. All right, we're good. We're gonna flow into it. Can you guys hear him echoing at all?
I think it's okay. No,
Yeah, it's pretty good because I lowered the gain of my mic so it's not picking up so much. But of course, I have to talk right here.
Well,
So okay, yeah. So I asked you what lights your fire in FPV, meaning like what gets you excited, what lifts you up. Okay, so then what drains you the most? What drains your
bloody,
spirits?
like, I have really bad ADD, so I have like this hard time learning stuff unless it's shown to me. Like, for instance, right now I want to get my preset for my quad put up on Betaflight,
Yeah.
and I think I pissed off Ivan Lemon or whatever a little bit because I kind of asked how to do it, but I don't really know. Like, they gave me like a wiki or whatever to follow, GitHub thing,
The wiki.
and
I've
like
looked
it's
at it.
just
Oh.
it's over my head, and it's kind of like, I'm an idiot. Can you please walk me through it? And I know that he probably doesn't have the patience, you know. So it's like stuff like that, or just like, okay, flying these quads and then deciding I want to design my own. But now, how the heck, like, because no one's going to be able to listen to what I say and do what I want because I'm very like specific. I have like a idea,
Yeah.
and then I can't do it, so I have to learn how to do it. So learning Autodesk, like learning Fusion 360, like, and it's like I want to just know how to do it. I don't want to spend like hours learning like these lessons and days like how to design and stuff. I just want to know how to make a quad. I don't want to know all the stuff I don't need to know, but no one's going to give you
Yeah.
exactly what you need. And that's kind of what I tried to do.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, anytime I learn something about drones, anytime I have a problem and I'm sifting through Joshua Bardwell 20-minute video, 30-minute video to get a 2-minute answer. So then whenever something like that happens where I get the answer, those are usually when I make videos and try to make them as short as possible, just to be like, I just dealt with this, now you can deal with that, and it's quick. Like, because
Yeah.
that's what lots of us want. Some of us do want the story and enjoy that, but lots of us just kind of want, like, we want the answer so that we can bloody fly.
Well, no, I don't think that's a bad thing because
No.
ultimately it comes down to data organization, right? If you think about this as like a kind of a data thing, like the information about how to solve various different problems, is it going to be organized in a way that is searchable and accessible as quickly as possible? And that's important. So I think that that's really something, maybe there's like a new platform that really needs to exist specifically for tutorials and things like that. But it's tough to beat YouTube's
You can learn
power
everything.
because
You can learn
you can learn
everything on
anything,
YouTube.
and people are self-motivated to make these things as well, even beyond just people seeking to make a career out of it. So that's tough to beat, given the fact that anyone who's going to make a website specifically for these great answers to great questions and searchable and everything's perfect, you just type in your question and bam, it's going to be monetized. It has to be monetized
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of work. So
And
it's tough to beat YouTube in that regard.
well, my biggest, like, because some people see my channel and they wonder, like somebody even on one of my last videos said, "Oh, how'd this get 2,000 views?" And I went and I looked at that person's channel, and they had good, like, their videos looked nice. I built a channel on crap visuals, like,
Yeah.
I threw up flight videos because I like doing them, but my most popular video is how to connect your DJI goggles to your Vista, and it's like a 2-minute video, and that has grown my, like, you know what I mean? It's not the content that I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
make, but it's like you give and you take, right? You teach people
Yeah.
something, and then, like, when I put a flight video, I don't really expect anyone to do it. I look at that more like art, because I've been doing YouTube now for like over 3 years, almost daily, and this is one of like 3 main channels. I started off as a reptile channel, and the reptile channel, one day inside my head, I was like, I wonder if I can feed a snake with a drone. And I had a toy drone from AliExpress that was $30, and I'm the first person in the world to feed a snake with a drone. And then later on, I thought, hey, what if I get a bigger drone and I go outside and I feed a giant rat to like a huge snake at the playground and everyone starts freaking out? And I had this like fantasy in my head. And then I started doing research, and UVA features showed up, and I saw FPV, and I was just like, I can fly. And I
Yeah.
just that was like September a few years ago. So that whole winter, I watched. I consume content like a beast. Like I just that's how I found you. I found you complaining about iFlight and whatever, and then that's that's how I discovered like you and saw that you were making things. And I keep up with like everything, every new drone, every person flying, like because when you start to understand FPV and you see flight videos, you can tell how a quad flies by looking at those
Yeah,
videos.
yeah,
They can't hide a crappy
yeah,
tuned drone,
yeah.
with, even if they're a good pilot. And that, like, so I bought my three first bind and flies, and then I flew them when springtime came, and it was just like sub 250 is such a like unloved category
Yeah,
where the companies
yeah,
just put crap together and it all kind of flies like garbage. And that was kind of
yeah.
what made me, well, then I discovered another drone designer, Pavel, and he made something called the Patch Ray. And you can buy the
Okay,
Patch
no.
Ray on, it's on TBS's website. But then there's another pilot that was flying a tadpole, and I saw him go from the tadpole to the Patch Ray, and I saw the way that this drone flew, and that was kind
Yeah,
of like I discovered this is the drone that I need. And I started flying that, and I loved it. I became friends with Pavel, and I think that's what's so amazing about this community if we get over ourselves, because there's it's hilarious how there's so many like 30, 40-year-old men like bickering over nonsense instead of just being like, we love flying. And why
yeah,
not become friends with each
yeah,
other? Why do you and I have to be competing and be like, oh, your quads are ugly or your
yeah.
quads are this and my quads are not? Like it's
If we
just
work together, we could reach a bigger market, and there's enough room at like we're fighting over scraps when there's a mountain of gold untapped, and DJI clearly has tapped into that. I mean, the sale, like DJI is the most successful FPV drone, both the Avata and the original DJI FPV. Their sales numbers smoke the entirety of FPV. All of DIY companies put together haven't even touched that one drone that DJI released, and yet we look down on it. But they knew something we didn't, and that's
well, they
that. Like,
made it
stop
easy.
being elitist.
They made
Go
it
ahead.
easy for consumers,
They made it easy. Yeah, they made
right?
it for
Because
consumers, right?
FPV is
Yeah,
not easy. It's kind of a nightmare. But like now that I've gone through that nightmare, when I teach people, it's like you're getting like years of experience, like bam, and you don't have to deal with the problems I did. And I can bloody stick RPM filtering, tune your drone, make it fly nice. And the moment that
yeah,
you see someone that's been struggling, then fly a quad that's tuned better, like seeing
yeah,
them be
yeah,
able to learn and get that joy, that feels good.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Absolutely.
it feels good to share your creations with people, and it like we I'm very competitive too, but when it comes to competition, I've always competed more against myself. Like
Yeah,
I've never
yeah,
looked at it like I have to beat someone else. Like I want to get better myself.
yeah, yeah.
And then
I mean,
there's always
if you
like
don't do that, then you're always going to be disappointed because there's always going to be someone smarter than you, and better than you and whatever, right? But you can beat yourself and feel good because
yeah,
that's the best metric we have.
or going to the whoop races. I bloody hate whoops, but I go to the whoop races because it's fun to be with other people. And they get
Yeah.
some of them get caught up in that stuff too. And for me, like you need to do 3 laps to put in your time. So if I just finish 3 laps, I'm like king of the world, Like, and I'll say it and I'll joke, and some people like whatever, but like
Yeah.
it's fun and
Yeah.
it's just it's so fun. Also, like I come from like motorcycles and being an idiot, and like with a drone, you can be an idiot and not die. No risk.
Hopefully, look, it's funny because I was just about to ask you the second question. It's a pretty good one. So what kind of person do you hate to fly with? And then this is a two-parter. And then what kind of person do you love to fly with?
Okay, I hate
Yeah.
flying with prudes.
What do you
I
mean?
like I don't
Oh,
want
like
to
people
fly
who.
with someone that tells me what I can't do or shouldn't do or that's not safe. Like I need an idiot.
Oh,
I
like
want
don't
to
fly over people.
well, I don't
Yeah.
want to fly with an idiot like someone that's reckless. Like I don't consider myself reckless. I kind of consider myself like a calculated risk. And the same thing on a motorcycle. Like either you can do it or you can't. And if you can do it, just hit the throttle and do it. And if you can't, don't even try. So even if I am like flying around people, let's say going fast, I'll get to plan where I'm going, right? I'm not going to fly directly into someone. I might go around and whatever, and know that if there
Yeah,
was an
yeah.
accident, I'm not going to hit anyone. Unless I'm diving off a building and something terrible happens, but I won't just take a fresh build usually and dive down a building. I'll test it out a few
That's
times.
a big one right there. You just nailed a big point. Don't take a fresh build, guys.
First
Gosh.
fly it around, make sure that it's good, make sure that you're not going to lose your connection, and have that link
Yeah.
quality up so that you see the link quality, and know that you have a trusted build. And also I don't fly 5 inch because like I stay sub 250. My heaviest quad is like 125 grams built, so I keep
With the battery?
no, with the battery it's like
Oh,
230.
yeah.
But
That's awesome.
I stay under that limit, and basically in Toronto, it's ridiculous because technically I'm not allowed to fly in the park because you're not allowed to fly in any parks with your drone. But I go to the middle of the city, dive down a building, and there's no obviously you kind of shouldn't, but there's no law saying that you can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, as much as I think that bot grinder video is so cringe, but it was some good information. Just the first, like, very first test. A sub 250 drone, the amount of damage you can do to someone is really minimal. It's really not a big issue,
If you hit them
especially
in
if
the
you got
head
crop
dropping
guards.
down a building, then yeah. But other than
It's gonna
that,
hurt. I don't think that would injure them. That might hurt. It might smart, right?
I think you could kill someone. It would just be very
With a
hard.
sub 250,
Like okay, so
I don't think you can kill
if a 200 yeah, if a 240 gram like 3 inch drone is going straight down and it fully like smashed into someone's head, I think it could hurt them pretty good, if not kill them, crack their head open. I don't know,
I
because
mean, if you're throttling downwards, here's a sub 250 right here.
yeah. Well, you're with that, the plastic would kind of like smush in, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it all like I mean like I'm diving down 1,000 foot building, right? So it's not like a little thing. Like if it's going straight down
Yeah.
and it's building that momentum and the batteries pulling it down, I think. But it's such a small like chance. Like everything would have to go
Even hit them
wrong
too. Yeah, yeah.
and right at the same time.
Everything has to go wrong and right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, okay, no, fair enough. But I definitely think that when it comes to anything like sub 200, like 150 gram kind of drone things, like there's just almost no damage at all that you could even do even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too, is like whatever we're sitting here having a philosophical debate about what might and what could. Well, we just look at the statistics of injuries from FPV. They're incredibly low.
Yeah.
So in reality, FPV is one of the safest hobbies out there. Safer than RC planes, safer than RC helicopters, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
And someone made a comment on that one saying that it could likely just be due into the high floor. So like to even get, like you said, that even to get into FPV at all, you're gonna have to learn quite a lot, and it's usually ignorance that causes injuries. But you kind of can't really be ignorant and fly because you can't even stay in the air for longer than 10 seconds if you're completely ignorant, right?
Yeah, there's a huge difference between like aggressive and reckless. I'm very
Yeah.
aggressive, but I'm not reckless. Like, and people get
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
confused, right? It's just like I'm pretty confident, and sometimes people will think I'm cocky. And like that's
Yeah.
so not me. Like I love
Yeah.
everyone. I
Yeah.
like to be friends with everyone. I like to get new people into it. And I'd never kind of hold someone back. Like I'd give you everything. It's like if I teach you to play chess, I wouldn't keep you worse than me so I can beat you. Like if you start beating me, then I'm like, oh, this is really good. Like I like being around people that are actually better than me so I can learn more, right?
Yeah. 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 So what kind of people do you like to fly with?
Well, that's the thing. Like here, it's hard. I've made a few friends that like they always end up like moving. Like I had a buddy Tommy. We were flying all the time, and then he moved to Montreal. Like he was one of my favorite people because it's just he's funny. He's French. He's just
Yeah. Yeah.
and we have little things, and but I can't. I have a hard time with people that I don't take themselves a little too seriously, or
Yeah.
you know too proper. I like kind of that in between. I don't want a total idiot, but I like someone that can just, hey, let's go do something fun, like because that's what gets my jollies going.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
going to the busiest place and flying
Pushing you.
around. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and for the in 2 years, I've had maybe like one guy come up to me and say like, don't like stop flying. I'm like, I'm in a public, like I'm here, like tell me where you are. I'll avoid you, but I'm not gonna leave.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're flying sub 250 too. I think that's really a big part of it as well, is that these drones are just not as loud, not as scary, not
yeah,
as, and you print with I remember seeing your drone, the booties. I copied
the nice,
your name a little bit. I called mine the boobies, but anyways.
yeah, boots or
But the
booties,
booties were
little
blue,
booties.
right? If I
I
remember.
have different
Did you print
ones.
them blue?
I have actually pink, yellow, and green.
But those colors, I mean, I know that people might think I'm joking here, but they're very important to make your drone look like this, especially if it's a smaller one.
Well,
People
I
don't think
love
it's
that.
an
It looks
aggressive,
like
scary.
candy.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I
totally.
love the neon
Yeah,
colors, so it's like I see you with your designs, and I'm just like, I really like your neon colors. I really like that you're bloody 3D printing them. Mind you, you're adding
yeah,
the
yeah,
carbon. And the other thing that you did is you made like the whole idea of like, I like the discus because it's round. People like, Chris Rosser with the triangles and whatever. And I'm like, to me, a circle is stronger than a triangle because you hit a triangle, you're going to smash off the corner. If you hit a circle, the
yeah,
circle is going to take the impact. And like when I was a kid in school, I did the egg drop and I made like a
exactly.
contraption where the egg was safe because all the
Yeah,
pressure
yeah,
from the side. So I think that circles are the most strong shape. Nothing with a
yeah,
corner is going to spread the impact like a circle. So,
exactly. Yeah.
like the way that you made one of your drones with the circle, yeah, with that
Exactly this
circle
one here. Yeah,
carbon, right? That was
yeah.
something I thought of doing before too, but I didn't do it. And you did it, and the thing that people also don't think about is the center of gravity. So it's like that thing has a good
Why
center of
wouldn't you
gravity.
think about that?
Well,
I don't understand why that's not a.
it has
Go
a
ahead.
great center of gravity. So it's like when I see the videos of you flying that thing, I can see that shape, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
big thing that you still have is top and bottom in a way, but the momentum and the way yours works, it's kind of like a flying saucer. It cuts through the wind, it drifts differently, it moves differently,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like I obsess over those things. I obsess over the way the quad moves, and
I mean, as we should too, especially when we're filming and stuff, right?
yeah, but it's just
Everything.
people like I just feel like there's not a lot of love put into design. There's not a lot of thought. It's all these companies that just stick the electronics onto carbon and
Yeah,
they don't think about that space. And then people that
yeah,
build, as soon as you give them something like one of my discuses, it's like a nightmare to build because it's so tight. But because it's
yeah,
so tight, I get that beautiful center of gravity and I get that
yeah,
movement. So when you have a top bottom, it's kind of like the baby hawk's the perfect example. The spacers are too big. Everyone loved it, but you can really feel when you turn the difference from
yeah.
the top and the bottom, and there's like a swing. And if you hit anything and your space, like the, what are they called,
Struts.
the
I think
like
they're called.
struts or whatever, what do I call
Yeah,
them?
yeah, yeah.
Standoffs. I call them standoffs. The
Standoffs.
metal pieces.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
they're
So if you
called.
have a
Yeah, yeah,
long metal standoff, like a 25 millimeter standoff, that's going to be able to bend and break because the longer it is, the more leverage you have, right?
exactly.
Just like a torque wrench. When you have a big torque wrench, you can really tighten it. When you have a tiny one, you can't really do much.
Yeah,
So when you build drones that have 25 millimeter standoffs, like it's going to be so much easier to bend them and crack them than if they're 15 millimeter standoffs. And
have you seen what's his name? Kebab FPV's
yeah,
new drone. Someone just sent that the other day, and I was like, this is gonna fly like garbage, and it's gonna be absolutely the worst for durability I've ever seen before. Put it up on the screen right now.
Show it to
Yeah,
me.
like what the heck is this? I really don't understand how this can be any good.
Well, see, to me, that reminds me of the Chris Rosser thing, right? And like Chris Rosser
Yeah.
is one of the like because I love when people design their own quads, and like Dave and Kebab have always experimented with things. So like all that stuff, like I love the experimentation. But the thing that like
Yeah.
kind of rubs me wrong with Chris is that I just feel like his designs to me are just they're not beautiful. They're the first ones were like the ugliest things I've ever seen. They were way heavier than they needed to be. There's like 8 standoffs instead of 4, like in the sub 250 category, and he has a drone for every single category, and it's changing every single year. And to me, if you're, it's
It
one thing
feels
to,
very iPhone-y, doesn't it?
it's well, it's
Like
one thing to
what is
make
updating?
different things, but it's like if you have to change it every year, like what does it say about it? And now we don't have those triangles anymore. We have the single arms, and the middle looks like a potato. So those arms are just going to rip off anyways, right? So it's
It
just
does.
like
Wait, we gotta pull this up on the stream because that's the funniest description. It's funny how you say that, because I was looking at it the other day and I was like, "This is just ugly." Now, mind you, I do want to say with a little caveat here, it's very awesome what Chris at least presented into the world of design because he was talking about things in design that nobody else was, at least at his level. Now obviously people like us and people small little channels were talking about it, but at his level nobody seemed to be talking about it.
well,
And
lots
so
of
it
the
was
stuff
really
he talks
awesome.
about we don't even understand. Like if I try to watch some of his videos, I can't even watch them because I don't bloody understand it. So like I come from the
Well,
side of like kind of common sense, not science, but like kind of like common sense and feel. Like
this looks like a potato. It does. It
like
does. It does.
like I think this or I know this, like I know weight. So I know at a certain weight the quad's not going to be able to do certain things. So for instance, the AOS 3.5 that people like love so much is 50 grams. My discus is 25 grams. So it's just like how like even if it doesn't have resonation and you're paying an extra 25 grams for it, like I can tell you that my 4 millimeter is not going to have resonation really either because it's like a 3.5 inch. It's different with a 5 inch, right? Because it's bigger and there's more
Yeah.
shaky parts. But a single plate 3 inch is not going to have a ton of resonance either, and it probably
Well,
would have
so
less.
actually, it was Ardu Pilot because when I was banned from the INAV Discord, lols, um, but it was Ardu Pilot that gave me a lot of insight on this. The devs of Ardu Pilot. So okay, so I was asking them about my 7-inch drone, and I was wondering whether or not I should build a one-piece frame 7-inch or a multi-arm, right? And so I got a bunch of different answers from everyone. Which, by the way, this is really frustrating part. Is like people will tell you, "Oh, you don't understand." It's like, well, clearly there's debate even amongst the experts.
Well, if you're not
But
going to
so Ardu
crash it,
Pilot,
that's the question.
well,
Like, if you're not going to
yeah,
crash it, a single plate is going to be fine and most likely better depending on how thick it is. But
and
if you're going to
here's why,
crash
and
it,
I've found that to be true because you will get technically more resonance from a single piece frame design because those vibrations are able to travel throughout the length of the thing. Obviously, the thicker it is, the less that's true. But, and it comes down to how Betaflight works, our Pilot devs were saying, yes, you'll get maybe potentially more higher peaks, but they'll all be the same frequency, so they're easier to isolate out with like a dynamic notch or something. Whereas a multi-piece frame design will technically have a lower floor, but there'll be so much more overall noise, which is much harder because the way the dynamic notch works and even RPM filtering, it's searching for that peak. So you'll have to have more notches and stuff to isolate those different frequencies. So that's why single piece frame designs fly so much better, because even though they technically might have more resonances with Betaflight, just how it works, you're able to cut that peak out, and then the rest of the frequency spectrum is perfectly clean. And that's exactly what I've discovered. And that's I brought that to INAV Discord or INAV developers who had said the opposite. And I was like, well, actually, okay, I'm not trying to argue with you, but the RD pilot dev said this, and then they got all salty and stuff, and the rest is history.
And that too, it's just the
Yeah.
pettiness, like whatever's going on with the props companies now and whatever too, right? There's always
What
some
do you mean?
sort.
What happened
I
to the
don't know.
props
There's some
companies?
sort of drama between like HQ or GemFan and the GemFan people and whatever. But I don't even know,
Oh,
so
really?
I won't get into it. You can just
Oh,
go
I'm gonna
on
have to check that out. Though.
Facebook.
I'm gonna write that down.
Ooh, drama,
HQ Prop's my
drama.
boy. I love that guy. The
Yeah,
guy who owns HQ Prop is he's very awesome.
yeah.
So
Tell
I
him to
support
make
him.
me a
Obviously,
3.5 3D. Say, make Matthew his 3.5 3D.
you fly 3D.
No, I want a 3.5 3D prop, and I tried to ask Zong. What's his name?
I actually don't know his name.
I think it's Zong something
I
Zong.
just I have him written on my WeChat HQ Prop.
Yeah, if you're friends, you tell him. You'll be like, you make Matthew his 3D. I'll bloody fly 3D all the time if he makes me a 3.5 3D prop. Like it's just like
I'll do it. Yeah.
because it's like I want to do like a Kickstarter and be like, hey, get the money because he like. But then it's like
Yeah.
I'll buy all the props and then I'll just have them. But I think people want to try it. People do. Like if there was a 3.5 3D prop, people would try it. And like I'm so
Yeah.
like I really want to do 3D.
I've seen some videos that make me want to do it, but I realize that I can't fly line of sight because as soon as I get so when I fly line of sight, I have to be like directly
I
behind my
can't
drone,
either. I can't
right?
either. But what I mean
So
is
I
you
think
have it on
I
a
think you might
switch.
struggle with 3D.
You have it on a switch.
Yeah.
So basically you fly normally and then you put 3D on, then you're in 3D, and then when you're about to land, you can put it back to normal. But basically your throttle is in the middle is dead, and then when you go one way it
Yeah.
goes up, you go the other way it goes down, so you can do like what I love in FPV is that kind of freedom, that kind of like a ballerina in the sky kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
For me it's like Top Gun. Like FPV is Top
If you
Gun.
can't fly line of sight though, you might get turned around easily because there
Yeah.
seems to be some people who can like keep their orientation mentally with the drone, but I can't. I have to like
Yeah.
see that orientation. And from what I've seen in 3D, you have to have this ability to keep some sort of mental like gyroscope in your head or something because you
Yeah.
get turned around and then you're like you don't know which way you're going and stuff.
And I love that. Like
I could be
love
wrong, but that's that's what some people have told me.
I think of like stunt planes. When we were kids, remember how they had like the stunt planes that would do turns and tosses and
Yeah,
smoke
yeah.
and then pull out at the last second? Like
Yeah.
that's what FPV is, right? For me.
Yeah.
It's just that pure
It just made me
adrenaline.
think of something cool. Smoke. Has anyone ever put a smoke grenade on like a drone and flew
Yeah.
it around?
Bot grinder, I think,
Oh,
and
they
then
have?
did it. Yeah. You
It's
can
very
still
tough
do
to
it.
do
You
new
can just
stuff
put
in
fart
FPV.
bombs. Do the fart bombs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There is apparently Kubi made some great points here. Sorry, Chris does an excellent scientific approach to everything, but most people just don't need to tune to their quad these days to the current beta flight software. Yeah. Well, I would disagree though because I think that just because it's good enough from what you know, like and Matthew was sorry Toronto. Should I call you Matthew or Toronto?
I don't
by
care,
the way?
whatever you want. Yeah, I was Mr. Snake. I actually took Toronto FPV because when they made us do the handles, so when they
Yeah.
made us do the handles on YouTube, I was like, Toronto FPV is not taken. Like, I'm just going to change my name. Like, I just took it
that's a
because
good
I'm just like, I had to take it. But it's like, lots of, like, the people that know me, lots of them just call me Snake.
Okay, yeah. So, Snake, I like that. Mr. Snake's pretty good. But so he said it that when he gives his drone to a new person who's never flown his drone before, they're like their eyes are opened, the veil is lifted, and I've had the same experience. It's like if you think that your drone flies well with a stock tune, you probably and not no offense, you probably just don't know what a really good quad feels like. But the second that you do, it's really tough to go back.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. At least it's been in my experience. Like you can't really go back anymore.
The
Yeah.
pursuit of perfection. Like, that's what it is. It's the pursuit of having that quad that you can connect with. And it's just, that's another thing I get into with some people because they just, like, it. People will say you want to get good, just fly all the time, and it's like I spent the last 2 years designing and not flying as much because I'm like I don't want to fly something that I don't enjoy. I want to fly something that when I fly, it's like, yes. It's just like I don't want a
Yeah.
Toyota Corolla. I want a Lamborghini, right?
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to feel that performance. I want that when I put the input in, it moves and I feel that. And that is
Yeah.
like, if you have that, you're going to progress way better because you're connected. And if you don't have that, you're not as connected. You're never going to be able to really get better. And you'll always be kind of stuck with like this kind of like, oh, I'm trying to control this thing instead of I am this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to put it. You're very connected, and it really just comes down to Brian White's tuning method. I don't know if you know the basement tuning method, the step response method, where you're just basically trying to look at like what your controller is telling the drone to do, and then what your drone is actually doing. And the closer those are together, with the smallest amount of latency between them, and I think he's very much right. I would say that Chris Rosser's tuning videos, and a lot of like the tuning videos talking about listen to the sounds of the motors, that can be very frustrating for new flyers because they're like, I have no concept about what a good motor sounds like or a bad motor. Like it's very floaty, but you do eventually have to get to that point
Yeah.
because it helps a lot to just hear it and be like, oh, that sounds like you need to add more D or lower the D down or whatever.
I like Angry Dawn.
But Angry Dawn,
Angry
I don't know who
Dawn.
that is.
So he basically
I have
flies
to check it
whoops
out.
to 3 inches. And I got a lot of my tuning. Like, I take things from different people. I hear things, the UVA features. No, the other guy. What's the other guy? There's the other white guy. Ah,
Oh, White Guilt 27. That's right. I
I don't
remember that
know.
guy.
There's another dude. There's another dude that like does a lot of tuning stuff, and it's like because there's UVA features, and then there's another UVA whatever guy.
Yeah.
And anyways, I listen to all of them, but then Angry Dawn is kind of like he flies whoops and little things, and he the way he tunes, like when I fly a drone kind of tuned the way that he tunes it works really. I find that it connects like that. There's all sorts of different like tunes, and I never really learned how to do like the black box stuff yet. So
Yeah.
I don't
I would
know
say
if I
start with,
wanna.
I'll send you a video on Discord. Brian White's basement
I've seen
tuning
that one. I've
method.
seen it.
Really good. Because it may be a little bit seemingly intense, but it's like a step-by-step process that's the same every time, pretty much. So that's what's really great about it, is there's no guesswork you have to do. That's why I liked it the most. But yeah, about Chris Rosser, I don't know how to feel about him half the time. Half the time I'm just really behind him. I support him. The other half the time, I start to see that I think he's changing. I
I
don't
think
know.
he's
Maybe
smart.
that's just
He's
me.
extremely smart.
Yeah, he's extremely smart.
And it's
Extremely
business, like
smart.
good at marketing and
Business, yeah.
good at all that stuff. But just to me, I don't see love. I see kind of almost gimmicky, right?
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem we have with him because we hold him in such respect. And yet, I'm just going to call it that new the vibrations. No, right? Like, no, they're vibrations. Like, I get you're trying to be hyperbolic or something because that's YouTube or something like that, right? But then also, how hard would it have been for him to test his vibration, isolation method with the same exact identical quad that just didn't have that cutout?
Good,
But he didn't do that.
good
Why?
vibration.
I mean, yeah, but like that's the thing. Like, it's so clear to me that he was doctoring that up, and it's
Well,
just like I can't get behind that as a scientist.
when you
Like,
see the
no, tell
first
people the
builds,
truth.
right? When you see the first builds, it's just he's using the parts from the company and then doing that. I'd love to do that too. Like any company want to give me some parts to build some stuff, I'll promote it too. But I just remember seeing that, the no-name cheapest antenna that you could buy on AliExpress stuck on the arm of the quad. And I was just like, this is poop. Where's the True
Yeah.
RC? Where is it? Put the True RC
Yeah.
Matchbox on it, please. Like, I love Phil
In
Hunter.
Canada, it's True RC. In China, it's Maple Wireless. Apparently,
Well,
they're
Maple
like
Wireless
neck
is
and neck.
excellent too. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Phil Hunter, sub 250 FPV.
No.
He's also made all sorts of like great little quads, baby turtle,
Yeah.
like tiny little quads, and he's like one of the people that like I've always just. It's like he did everything that I wanted to do before me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What
I
about?
like the small drones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get my hands on one of your drones and try it out.
Yeah. Okay, so how
Of
did
course,
you
I live in
learn?
China though.
How
Go
did
ahead.
you
Go ahead.
learn? How did you learn to design quads, and where does your inspiration come from?
Uh, Jeez, when did I? So I did like Blender for video game design and stuff like that, just as a little hobby. I wasn't very good, but it was just something I kind of knew my way around Blender. And then when I started 3D printing, I started trying to modify STLs, and then uh, it was a drone I built for like I just pieced together a frame in a different way than what it was intended to be, and it was ugly as crap, but it flew really great. And that's when I discovered, oh, center of gravity is really important. And then that kind of just springboarded me into thinking, how can I get a battery in the right place? And I didn't see anything else out there, so it kind of just like that led me down that path. The first drone I ever designed was the Dank Moth, which was a 6-inch whoop. It was just ugly as
Yeah, I
it's
came
just the
around when you
ugliest.
made the Mecha Roach.
Yeah, that
Like
was that was
that's
pretty
when
much right after the
yeah.
Dank Moth. And the Mech Roach really kick-started everything because at bare minimum, whether or not the drone flies well, it looked really cool. And so that got me a lot of attention over here in China. Like when I posted that to my TikTok, that just it blew up. Everyone was asking about it. But the problem with that drone was there was multiple problems. The biggest being that to build it, it was incredibly intense. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
was, I
it
did
was a
not.
puzzle, man. I'm like, you're
It
crazy.
was yes, it was a freaking jigsaw puzzle.
One that you
So I had to charge
understand.
so much to, yeah.
But anyone else
So
would
that
just
that
be
was
like, "Whoa, no, thank you."
yeah. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was a horrible design, but it was cool. But I ended up, I kind of, I've learned quite a lot since then about how to make things, how to make drones. So this one's actually
Yeah,
just 4 screws, and this top shell comes right off. And
yeah,
so
it's
it's a lot
super
better
cute.
now. But that was pretty much the journey.
Okay.
And a lot of customers complaining and stuff made me better. What about you though? When did you make your first quad?
Um. Yeah, I started messing around, and then I started like 3D printing them, and they came out really like ugly. And it's just if I make something, even if it works, if it's ugly, if I don't find it attractive, I don't want it. Like
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
first I was making something called the Psycho. I want to have the Psycho and the Ballerina, so I still have those names kind of saved.
Yeah.
But
You're much better with names than I am.
yeah,
That sounds cool. Psycho Ballerina, those are just great. That's like great marketing. I would love to see both of those quads.
I do the
I wish I
ballerina,
was an
and then
idiot.
everyone thinks I'm gay. I'm a hairdresser. Everyone thinks I'm gay. Like whatever.
You got a kid. It's
Sucking on
that's your path.
balls, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So the when I watched the one video, by the way, and I will call you out. The video of you feeding the snake gave me anxiety because when you were saying which pilots you hate to fly with most, I think you might hate to fly with me because my least favorite person to fly with is someone that gives me anxiety. And really, I just have this like, well, it may be because I have like PTSD from some of the people that I first started flying with were just reckless. They were just
yeah.
reckless. So now I can't really stand anyone flying because it's like I can't trust that they know what they're doing. And it seems like most of the people that want to fly with me are just incredibly reckless. And
See,
so it gives me
I
great
respect
anxiety.
that. I would want. See,
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that would want to get you to do something dumb. Like that's like
Oh,
I'm
I
the.
don't mind. Like if the drone's at risk, oh heck yeah, man. Or even property, yeah, a little bit. But
Yeah,
if a
good.
person's at risk, I get great anxiety,
Yeah,
because
like
I have this one guy that I flew with, and he flew like it was like 2 km up, and I'm like, yo, bro, you can't like stop. This is a fresh build, right?
mhm.
And sure enough, his VTX loses, crashes. He goes out into the field to try to find it. And as I'm sitting there watching the stuff, a lady comes up speaking Chinese. I didn't really understand what she was saying. She's like, "Chima, chima, chima, chima." And then she said, Fei Ji, which I'm like, I perked up. Hey, that means plane. I know that word. And then she's pointing like back towards the highway. And I'm like, Feiji's a Jibima, which means like, oh, there's a plane over there. She's like, yeah, your plane. I'm like, oh my gosh. She leads me over. Here's his drone in the middle of the highway, shattered all over the place. He crashed into the highway.
Well,
That was
hopefully
the
he
last time I
learned.
flew with him.
But
That's
see,
not a learning. That's just like, no, that's not good.
I
This is
like
not good,
you.
Yeah.
You got to be respectful. Like I try to be respectful to everyone. You know, Like
Yeah,
I don't want to smack you in the face or put you in danger or make you feel uncomfortable.
that would definitely make me feel uncomfortable.
Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that.
No, I mean, like,
I
but
just
that's
like
to me,
diving
that's like
buildings. Like I'm simple. Like
yeah. Oh, that
let's
all that, like, if the
let's go
drone's at
dive a
risk, there's
building.
no problem there. But crashing into a highway, I mean, you could kill somebody,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't want to be anywhere near that, like not even with a 20-foot pole. So I am definitely like, I'm the kind of, well, when I was tuning my buddy's drone, which is a 7.5 inch, like 2 kg big boy drone, we were flying at the park and there was a field out, an empty field in front of us, but he kept like doing kind of loops and there was people. And I'm like, don't even fly over people because God forbid you lose your signal and it, crashes down. You're going to prison, right? Like you're going to prison. You've killed somebody. God forbid you killed a kid or something. So I am that person. I yelled at him like, do not fly over people. So you might not like flying with me because I'm definitely like a Karen when it comes to that and
Yeah.
only that. But yeah,
Well, you
so
don't
that's
want
why I had
to
a
hurt
gripe to stick
anyone.
with you on your snake feeding video because you had this drone flying with your daughter right there, and I was just like, no,
Oh,
don't,
but
because what
also
happens if the snake yanks it, the pin freaks out, and the drone flies and hits your daughter in the face?
it's just, the thing is that actually I did that kind of with a helicopter too, and I took the propellers, hit my tongue with it to show that like that's actually like a 30-gram drone, so it
Oh,
can't even break your skin. So some people thought that
okay,
that
yeah.
was like a
It
serious
looked like
drone.
a proper DJI
No,
kind of
no,
thing,
no. It was a $30 AliExpress, like one of those dinky garbage toy drones. So
Okay,
no,
okay,
no
yeah,
danger.
okay,
But
yeah,
some people thought that it was an actual like big drone. It wasn't. Like a
yeah,
3 inch would be like a 3 inch would be super dangerous compared to that.
yeah. Well, that's good though. That's good. Okay, yeah. But I get super anxiety when I see that. Gosh. Anyways, okay. Here we go. Ready? This is a good one. This is the meat and potatoes here. Um, do you bring more packs or do you bring a charger when you go out to fly?
Okay, so I usually charge like 4 packs. Like and then like sometimes like in the winter I'm not going to bring any more than that. In
Yeah.
in the summer I have my little portable like charger, so I'll do that. But
You just go like find some place to plug it in real quick.
no, oh, I have a LifePo that I just have in my backpack. So a LifePo
What is it?
battery, basically you can just charge and discharge as many times as you want, and it doesn't save like memory or whatever. And just one second.
No. Yeah, no, I might need to get one of those. I think it's actually time that I get one of those because
But I'm flying
you
tiny
know,
batteries too. Remember, you're flying like
true,
gigahertz,
true.
so it doesn't make as
Yeah.
much sense. But I used to do parallel charging, but I think I blew up my parallel board way too many times.
Really? Well, hey, no, I tell you what, you got to get the Thor, the HDLRC Thor. It's got the fuses on it.
So see this?
Life Po battery.
I'll send you a link.
Interesting. I'm
I'll
gonna have
send
to
you.
take it. Is that just like
Well,
that's like a car battery basically, right? Like the
it's
same kind of.
just it's like a golf cart battery, and then
That's pretty
I
cool.
put an XT60 on it, and then I plug. You can charge it with DC power, and it has like a built-in thing that stops it from overcharging. So you charge it to
Oh,
14.6, and
okay.
then
Yeah,
once
yeah,
it's
yeah.
charged, you can uncharge it till it's at 12.8, and
But
basically
it's got a built-in like a low voltage
it
cutoff
has a
switch, right?
built-in thing that stops it.
Cool.
Well, actually, you keep an eye on the voltage when you plug it into your thing. So I plug it into this, and then I can charge 2 batteries at a time.
That's pretty awesome. What charger is that there?
This is the Toolkit M6D. So it's dual.
Oh, that's
Like
nice.
it charges them
Yeah,
separately. Like those Hotas are all like $120. This is only
they're
like
pretty big.
$60 Canadian.
Okay,
So
yeah, I
like
might need to get one of those.
yeah, it's and it does everything separately, so it's not parallel. Like it's so
Yeah.
you can do two totally different batteries, different ways, and but I'll just do two at a time. Charge them before I.
Yeah.
Like I'll use this outside if I needed to, and I'll just have it in my backpack. I love kind of having everything in my backpack, just like boom, ready to go.
Yeah,
Also ready
yeah.
to pull out, ready to run away if I have to.
Do you strap your quad to the back of your backpack, or do you put it
I
inside
put
the
it in
backpack?
because it's so little.
Yeah. I love that too, but I don't always have that option. But like when I'm gonna fly this thing, this goes in the backpack because I hate my drone being on the outside. You bump into
Yeah,
something. Oh
yeah,
no, I
yeah.
bent it prop. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Plus
hate that.
people knowing or seeing, like I do like I love
Yeah,
neon
that's a good
colors,
point.
but then I
Oh, yeah.
also like stealthiness. Like because
Yeah,
when I go
yeah.
fly somewhere and do something a little bit more like out there, I think to myself, okay, I have 2 minutes. Like so I'm in the mall, I can fly around. I have 2 minutes to do whatever I want. Security won't even notice.
Yeah,
I'll be gone.
yeah. That's awesome.
And
Wait, do you have mall? Can you post a mall flight? I want to definitely check out a mall flight. I love
oh,
mall
I have
flights. That's my
lots of
favorite place to fly.
mall flights, but lots of the time I don't I don't title them that way because it's like I don't want them to ever. If even if they did,
Oh,
like
that's
they would
true.
have to
Yeah, yeah,
prove
yeah.
that you put people in danger, and like a whoop can't hurt nobody. So and
Have
there's
you ever lied about the drone that you're flying to get
no
around that?
no because basically
Neither
like
have I.
all my drones are sub 250, so
True.
I don't even touch 5 inches because I know that if I like, I've flown a switchback and
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that's the other thing. I don't feel like the bigger drones are actually faster because it's weight to thrust, right?
There seems to be, and well, this is something for designing, and we can definitely, and this is something we're both going to be pushing for in the future. Is like I have this theory, and maybe it's not a theory; it's more just scientific principle. I don't know. Anyway, so there's like a sweet spot there. There seems to be some sort of like a parabola, like an apex of the efficiency versus the motors, the battery, the discharge rate, the prop size, all those things, and they converge in different ways for different drones. And that's why it's a bit difficult, is because it seems like that's ever changing. When you change one thing on the drone, and that sweet spot changes, right?
Yeah.
And
So
yeah, so that's just my first thought when you said that.
but
Go
that
ahead.
exactly. So like for instance, a 3.5 can spin faster than a 5 because what you're
Yeah,
adding with 5 is the weight. And with that weight,
yeah,
yes, you have momentum that maybe the 3.5 can't have as much momentum as a 5. And everyone
more
that
thrust.
started from a long time ago is used to flying these 5s. So to them, that's what's the
Yeah,
best. That's what they're
yeah,
used to. But then because for me, I started off with 3s and now 3.5s. And for me, the moment I go from a 3.5 to a 5, I actually feel like the response is slower. It doesn't spin as
yeah.
fast. It doesn't cut through the wind like it doesn't drop as fast. And
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
found that as well.
I feel like a
Huh.
3.5 is actually more responsive. And then I'd also got tricked into the whole, oh, well, what if I do a 3 inch on 6S? Let's do that. We need that power. But the moment that you put that power, it comes with weight. And as you
Yeah.
add that weight, you get more momentum, but you lose more accuracy. You're not going to be able to stop
And
on
you
a
have higher
dime.
KV motors that have less torque,
Yeah,
right? So you're gonna have higher KV. I mean, like, I don't even know if they make motors that would, spin it the same as the 4S motor or something. But yeah, I found the same thing. I see people putting a 6S battery in a 3 inch, and it's like,
it's
what
a
the heck are you
waste.
doing?
It's a waste of
It's a
money.
waste.
It's
Totally.
harder on the electronics. And
Yeah.
basically, a 4S on a 3 inch feels like a 6S on a
So
5
good.
inch, except that you
Yeah.
get it for
Yeah.
cheaper. You get to go easier on your electronics,
Yeah.
and it works. But you like for
Yeah.
me, I don't know the science or anything, so everything was done through feel and testing. So I went and I did that. Same thing, kind of like with whoops. I hate whoops. I hate them so much that I literally bought every single one, and I said I'm gonna give them all a chance. I'm gonna see what I like, figure out what I like, and then do that. So from testing all the whoops, I found my favorite motors, my favorite prop size, my favorite, and
Yeah.
messing around. And you can't get
What's your
that
favorite three
knowledge.
inch motor
3 inch
size?
motor, like, see, the 1404s are super efficient, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, like, if I was racing, I would do probably a 3 inch as light as I can make it on 1404s. Not like the tiny trainers that have all that weight, packaging,
Yeah.
protection. Like all that protection just makes them heavy and slow and sluggish. And yeah, it makes
Yeah.
them move like a bigger drone because they have that weight and momentum. But you take away all
Yeah.
that weight, you make it as light as possible on 1404s, you're going to have a really zippy, but you're not going to have the torque, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to have the low end. And you have to think about this with every drone. You can build a drone that goes really fast, or you can build a drone that has that torque. You can have a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mazda Miata, or you can have a Mustang. And
You're
people,
definitely gonna pique a lot of my viewers with car stuff.
well,
They're
well,
always talking about car stuff, and I don't I
well
don't know anything
people
about
like
cars.
Mustangs and they like that power because it feels nice. But if you have all
Yeah.
that power in a drone, you lose control. You have power.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I can hit the throttle and it shoots up into the air. It's amazing. But you have to actually be a much better pilot to control that weight in a race because you're not able to point your drone and go through the hoop. You have to be like
Yeah, you really
pre-turning.
touched on something there. It's for indoor flying as well. I mean, I don't do racing, but for indoor flying, you don't actually want so much power because
No.
changes in the throttle will really affect, and you'll get this kind of bouncing around stuff. But if your drone is almost even underpowered a little bit, you're able to fly that thing really smooth.
Well, the
Yeah.
weight makes the biggest difference because, and I didn't really think
Yeah.
about that until, well, learning firsthand and watching Nate. Nate is Shutterbug, so he like really nerdy over the whoops. He made the Beta 85. He designed it kind of. So I'd learned a lot from him because he was obsessed with making it as light as possible. And then I learned a lot from like Angry Dawn and then from all these like just seeing all these builders and all these different pilots doing different things. I never really cared about the light because I thought if it's too light, it's going to be flimsy. But if you can go as
Yeah.
light as possible and strong as possible, right? Not like the tank where it's like so strong but so heavy, but not so light that it's going to crack or get flimsy. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
like I made a cine whoop kind of thing before, a 3.5 or 3-inch cine that weighed less than the Cinelog 25, and it was on 2.5-inch carbon. And indoor it flew beautifully, but the moment you take it outdoor, the motors and everything shakes. So if you wanted to use
Yeah.
it just indoor, you'd be fine, but that was beyond the limit of that. So I obsess
Yeah.
over the weight to strength. You make
Yeah.
the drone
Yeah.
as light and strong as possible, and that's how you're going to have the best performance. You put all these big performance parts that make it so powerful, and you actually end up losing performance.
Yeah. I would say try the T motor 1604s for 3-inch. I mean, it's definitely going to be bigger than the 1404s, but I was
Yeah,
so impressed by them, and they're so quiet. If you
I'm
use the GemFan 5 blade,
I'm on the Brother
the stealth
Hobby
drone,
1504.5s, and those are like perfect.
that's the VY, the VY. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually what I first used. That was my
they're
first. But I
smooth.
think Brother Hobby has gone out of business. What's going on with them? Do you know anything about what's going on with them?
I don't know because I basically made my motors with those. Like I got
Yeah.
so the other thing that I do is because of having the hair salon. Like that's what I do. I'm a hairdresser, but I've
Yeah.
always thought of everything in business kind of. The moment I got into FPV, I messaged every company, "Hey, send me your wholesale price list." I never did.
Yeah.
I never bought stuff piece by piece. I just bought. So to me, it would hurt me to buy 4 motors at $25 each. I'd rather buy 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather buy
Yeah.
50 at a time and just, okay, these are my
Yeah.
motors, right?
Yeah.
So I did
The
that
problem
kind of
with
with
that, and
everything.
that's what I ran into also, if the manufacturers do not enforce MAP, you may just kind of be up shit's creek whenever someone buys 500 motors and jacks the price down, and then
Yeah.
you've just bought motors that now you're actually losing money on, not gaining. And that's what I discovered, and that's what really started putting a lot of thorns in my side with FPV, because I invested in a lot of stuff as well that I don't think I've lost money on, but I definitely I did not make any profit on it,
Well,
basically. I
I
was just trying to break even.
I noticed that right away. Basically, my idea was get all my favorite parts and build my favorite drone and sell that, but I can't do it, and nobody really can, because if you find
You
your
can't
favorite
compete with
run
these
cam,
factories with 600 employees, man.
because they make
You can't.
everything, right? So
Yeah.
for me to buy all the run cam cameras, then pay shipping, taxes, conversion, to get those run cam cameras here, then do it with all the motors, then do it with the FC, then do it with each part. By the time it gets here and I build it, it costs $500 for me to build.
Yep.
So I'm supposed to
Yeah.
sell
And
that
then you
then.
have to do it. You
Yeah.
yourself have to build them.
And then I'm supposed to sell that for $700 when they can go and buy a Crux 35 for $200. So then that was what kind of I changed my whole thing from, instead of wanting to make a bind and fly for people, just make a frame. Make a good frame and do the reverse. Because you remember back in the day, probably when people got Fieros and they put the Lamborghini kit on it. So
Yeah.
I thought of it like this. So there's these drones that are being built that have terrible bodies, terrible design, break so easily, they're flimsy, and also, having bought my first 3 bind and flies, they have different holes for electronics, so they don't take 20 by 20 and 25 by 25 and 30 and 12 millimeter motors and 9 millimeter motors. They're all different. So I smashed 3 drones and I smashed a front right motor on all 3 of them, and I couldn't take these drones and put together something because the parts were incompatible. So then I said, I'm going to make one drone that can take all these parts, like a switchblade, that I can put the battery on, toilet tanked or regular.
Like a conversion kit.
Yeah, on top or underneath.
Okay, yeah.
So the discus allows you to basically take any sub 250 parts and put them together. Buy any drone, go on AliExpress, buy the cheapest drone, or buy a Crux 35, stick it on the discus, and now you have a premium drone, and for like a $40 investment. So
that's really smart. I totally get behind that. That's very clever.
Because
I wish I could do that,
yeah.
but the market's already been cornered by you. So
oh, but if you think about it that way, right? Now you're making it so that they can buy something and make it better, and it makes it easier for them, because buy your Crux 35, smash the crap out of it, stick it on my discus. And
yeah.
Everyone that does it notices a difference, and it makes it easy for them to do. And I can profit off frames better than selling a bind and fly.
Yeah.
But like still,
there's no way. That's funny how we both come to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
I just came to that conclusion hard 2 days ago. But not just that, but also, I've designed gosh, I don't know how many quads at this point. And I'm narrowing it all down. I've just taken everything off my Taobao store, and I'm just gonna sell the 5-inch now, because I am very happy with the 5-inch. Like, it's incredible, but it's also the most popular market there is. But it's like, I learned this long ago when my mom was a restaurant owner, and so she was it's a little mom and pop restaurant she started, and she had like everything on her menu. She was a fantastic cook, but she had like 30 different things on the menu, and so every morning she had to wake up at like 4 a.m. to prepare all of those ingredients for each of those things in the menu, whether if a customer just happened to order that, right? And that was a real big mistake, and I think I've made the same mistake as well. So I'm just going to narrow down what I'm offering, and then of course do one thing really well. And I'm joining you in this. I'm not going to be building bind and flies anymore. I'll keep it open this month to kind of give people the last chance to get one of my drones. But like, it's the time, right? It's your time. It's my time that's so valuable, and you basically have to eat all of that time if you're building the drone yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can't charge people what, like you just said it. Like, why spend $700 on something when you can go buy this $300 drone easily, and it's good enough, right? Good enough. And sure, it's not premium like what you would do, but yeah.
Batteries, like it costs me. Okay, so I can get batteries wholesale for $8, but American. By the time they get here, it's $15. Conversion Canadian. Now I sell those $15 batteries for $20 to $25. So I spend $15 to make a $10 profit, and then I have to sit on them for however long. So it doesn't work. On the other hand, if I order all the parts that I want wholesale, then I can basically, if I don't sell them, I got packs for days. Right? Like,
yeah. Yeah. I had that for a while. I had because I got these custom batteries made for the Mecha Roach, the 1000 mAh 4S, which are great batteries. But I was the only person in the world that had them, and I had 20 of them, and they weren't selling. So I just ended up getting 10 of them, and just I would just go out and fly with 10 batteries, and not have to bring a charger.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. Like, going forward, I'm planning to have 6 quads, kind of. I'm planning to have my Whoop for analog, my drone for analog, my Whoop
Yeah.
for HD0, my drone for HD0, my Whoop for DJI, my drone for DJI. So to have like a big and small for each one and just have 6.
Yeah.
And basically, if people want to buy them, it's whatever it costs plus $100.
Yeah.
That's simple, right? Pay me $100 to
Yeah.
build it for you, basically. And if you don't want to, then I don't want to either.
Well, if you're only offering a few drones, that becomes feasible.
Yeah.
My particular problem, I mean, one of the reasons why my studio is so messy is because I was offering so many different types of drones, and I didn't have anything really clearly written down because I was always kind of tinkering and modifying the design. So when someone ordered, let's say, a Sea Dragon, I had to like go and relearn how to build it and like all the parts I needed for it. And they're like, "How much is it?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let me calculate."
Yeah.
And that was just very unprofessional, and also it just ate my time up like a dragon. Then I had to go tune it again because I changed something, so I got to retune it. It's like every different customer that I had became like 3 days worth of work for me for every drone, and so that's really where I started realizing I cannot continue this. And through all of that, I persevered. But then when they stole my design, my 7-inch design, something inside me broke because it's like I'm already barely able to survive, even if I'm just trudging along with no aggression. Oh, sorry. I think this is my package. 喂，你好。我的工作，你在吗？这个是快递吗？哦我在我的工作，现在。OK，好，谢谢。I don't understand a word he said to me, so I hope everything's okay with my package.
Very good. So
You just going off, and I'm like, I know a little bit of Chinese, but I don't know. What is being sent to me? I don't know. Sorry.
it's all good.
Anyway, so yeah, I think I just got to get to the point where I do my 5-inch. By the way, I don't know, like, well, you're not super into 5 inches, so you're probably not super interested. I wasn't either. I was not into 5 inches. Everyone knows that my channel. I pretty much hate 5 inches, but I made one just because T-Motor sent me a stack for 5 inches. Like, why not? But I don't know if you've seen anything about this drone.
Yeah, I've seen.
I fully expect this to be copied because by making the plate 8 millimeters thick, but routing out like as much as you can from it, it's kind of like an I-beam, right? Like you're getting that vertical stiffness, and then of course you have the struts here for horizontal thickness. But in my findings, it's mind blowing. Oh gosh, I think he really wants me to do something. Hold up a second here. Oh, here it's my wife. No, it's my wife. Hey, babe. Yeah. Oh, wait. The Quaidi guy just called me. I couldn't understand a word he's saying. Do you know what he's? Oh, you don't need to order it yet. I'm live streaming right now, babe. All right. Oh, okay. I'll fix it. Thanks, babe. All right. Oh, okay. I'll fix it. Thank you, though. Yeah, my bad. All right. Love you, babe. Bye-bye. My wife, always looking out. She's like, your audio is lower than his. Oh, sorry. Anyways,
She
yeah.
said that?
Huh?
She said that?
It should be good now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, she's just looking out. Audio is important. Sorry. One person in the chat earlier said, what do you want to get through the chat? Geez, actually, this is always a tough part when doing we should open it up to the audience to ask questions and stuff of us too. I know that they've been talking and asking questions. Sorry, it's really tough. I have ADHD. You have two guys who have ADHD. Give us a break.
One more thing. I was going to say, have you always been a little bit different?
Yeah. Okay, so one person said long-range drones. I'm probably not the best person to give advice on. Obviously, I just made a 7-inch long-range drone, but I can say this, and this really isn't to say that it's good or bad. I think it's good, but my experience is very limited. It's the first long-range drone I've ever flown, and it's also just the one that I made. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm obviously gonna want to promote it, but it apparently has caused a bit of a stir, and I'm getting a lot of attention for it. Albeit I don't want that attention anymore because it pisses me off. But my TikTok is going pretty much, my Chinese TikTok is going pretty viral right now for that particular drone, which is why it was copied. And of course, I made a public statement about it being copied, telling people I quit with this. Um, uh, I think that this is really something that the Toronto FPV has been talking about too. This one piece frame design, it's always been economically not viable. But as the components of FPV are getting more high end, DJI 4 coming in tomorrow, right? So that's pretty amazing, right? But with all these components getting more expensive, that's actually a good thing for people like me in Toronto FPV, because now you're not so worried about getting the cheapest possible frame. How many people have told me your frames are cool, but if I crash and it breaks an arm, I have to replace the whole frame. They're thinking about a frame, a $40 frame, when they've got like what's going to be a $300 plus VTX and a flight controller and motors. Like that's actually what you should be worrying about, making sure that's safe, making sure that flies really well. But as the components are getting more expensive, that's going to be more and more true. So these one-piece frame designs, just right out the gate, are superior. They're just
buy
superior.
3 of them.
Yeah, buy 3 of them, right? Buy 3 of them. They're superior. And maybe that's a bit too harsh for someone flying an analog quad, because the frame actually might be a big chunk of the cost. But if you're flying DJI 03 and DJI 04 coming soon, that starts to not become an issue. So these types of single piece frame designs will become more common. And what's more, I would like to say, like this thicker carbon fiber plate that you route out to make it kind of like an I-beam. I believe this is going to be the future of FPV, because the vibration analysis. Did you see the picture of the vibration analysis of this quad?
I saw a little.
Let me show you.
Like, to me, I just saw the wires. I'm just like, oh, that's a nice place for the wires to sit nicely.
Oh, well, yeah, no, that was definitely that's a bonus. But here, check this out. This is the vibration, the frequency to throttle for this drone. I still can't quite believe it, to be honest. That's just how crazy it is. But here we go.
Very nice.
Chris Rosser, eat your heart out. And I think it's just because, actually, this is not that hard to imagine. If you were to stick 5-inch motors on an 8 millimeter thick frame, it would be way too heavy, but you would probably get about the same thing, right? But then it's possible also that because of the I-beam structure, you might actually be doing something with those vibrations, right, that's beneficial due to the shape. Maybe because there's so many corners, maybe the vibrations aren't able to travel through so frequently. This is all, like you said, I'm the same as you. I do it by feel. This is not scientific. I'm not Chris Rosser. But I think that that's okay, though, because obviously both of us have managed to make drones that. Has anyone bought your drone and competed it against other drones? Or have you done that? Have you bought another drone and go ahead?
I've tested so much, right? So it's just like
Yeah.
I've never I've flown to AOS 3.5. I've flown all the
Have you made a
almost
video
all the
comparing
sub 250
the two?
drones I've flown, and
Yeah.
the Patre, like I said before, the Patre was the only drone that when it rolls. So it's weird because it's the way that the Patre would roll. It would roll like a ball. So most drones have a top and bottom, and when they roll, there's that. It feels the same on top or bottom, but it's not. There's like wind resistance. There's it has the push, right? So it doesn't fully spin. But with the Patre and with the discus, because the center of gravity is so tight and the camera is tucked so in, it just turns, and so there's no resistance on rolls, and that feels really, really good, because when you fly a drone and you're compensating for the weight, like when you're kind of you can compensate. It's kind of like when you're flying DJI, you don't feel the latency because you become dumb for it. Like you dumb yourself down to the latency so that you get used to it. But the moment you fly analog, all of a sudden it's instant. Then you notice there was latency, because I flew analog, then I did DJI for a summer, and I'm just telling you, I'm gifted at destroying expensive things. You get the 03, the first 03 I got, I scratched the lens the second time I flew it. And it's just my analog setup is perfect and I can't destroy it. I can't. It just lasts forever and I fly it well. You give me something expensive and I'll destroy it the first time I fly it. I killed 5 action cams. The first time I got a Run Cam 5 and I put it on a Crux 35, there was this hole at the library. It was a staircase that comes out of the building, so there's a hole. So I wanted to like dive
Yeah.
through it. I'm like, this is sick. So I film it. I dive through it. I did it like 3 times, and then there were kids around me, and my battery's at like 3.8. I'm like, I'll do it one more time, and on that one more time, I smashed. All that was left was the middle of the drone, the battery, and the camera. The camera was all cracked, and the micro SD card cracked in half. So I didn't get the footage, and the arms were gone, the motors were gone. It was just like that's it.
It's
And,
integrated.
and
Yeah.
4 Crux 35s destroyed on their like maiden.
Dang. But I mean, has anyone taken your drones and your theories and tested them
Well, anyone that tries
besides
my
you?
drone, like anyone that I put my
I
drone
mean,
in,
like a
somebody,
YouTuber. I mean, like a reviewer specifically.
John Coopy,
Okay.
John
But
Coopy.
I wonder why though.
Well, I want to give it to a 3-inch racer. Like if you just put 3-inch motors on it, it'll race fine. So like all those tiny trainer races, you give one of those racers a discus, take the same parts, stick it on a discus, and
Yeah.
it'll wreck the competition because it's just.
But here's my point though. You know, you have people that are reviewing things, and especially when they have a Patreon, right? So they're saying, okay, sub to my Patreon because I'm a community guy. You guys support me, right? So then why aren't they taking these? Listen, these bold claims from you,
Yeah.
these bold claims from me, these very bold claims. Why are they not taking our frame, even if reaching out to us? Like, why is there no like discussion over these, let's say, revolutionary designs, even though they're just our claims, right? We could be a liar, but why are they not testing this with this? Why is it only bind and flies from these big companies they're testing, and they're all the same train cell frame? And you know, obviously, we both
Because
know the
we're
answer
so
to that, but I think
small.
that's
We're
really
so
unfortunate.
small compared to that. Like so,
But that shouldn't matter
lots of
though,
people
because
don't know.
it's not about us; it's about our
Yeah.
creation, right,
Yeah.
and our claims.
But the
But
other
it's
thing,
you're right though. You're
people have
correct,
to
but it's like it
know.
shouldn't be that.
So first
Yeah,
of all,
go
people
ahead.
have to know. Also, I have been very hesitant to even like sell mine because I didn't want it to go out until I could 3D print bumpers and like do all the things, the accessories for it. Because the way that the discus is, it can be built in tons of different configurations. So I wanted to like
Yeah.
when I design like I'm selling one to someone and now I'm designing a camera mount at a fixed angle for his camera. So we're going through that process, and it's like anytime someone gets it and they use a different camera than me or something, I have to design a custom mount just for them, for that camera.
Yeah.
And because I like the fixed camera mount, so then I have to make a fixed one at 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and like whatever. So getting it all just right for the person, it's hard for me too because I'm limited by my design. I don't really know how to use Fusion 360 properly. So when I
neither
like,
do I.
if you look at my live stream of me like designing something on Fusion 360, it'll take me sometimes 3 hours to make a bloody camera. And then
Yeah.
if I make it
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
ugly, if I don't like
Too
how
bad.
it looks, I don't care if it works.
Yeah.
Like I won't.
No, yeah, I feel that.
And it, like
I've kept the same design though, just
yeah.
because I want to be more efficient.
So I don't have my
I,
website up properly with all those things available for
you
them
should
too.
I'll send you the files for this today too. You should definitely try this out.
The
I don't know if you
switchable
ever.
O3 thing, or is
Yeah,
it the
it's super
GoPro
fun.
one? Because I saw your GoPro one
Uh,
and I saw your O3.
yeah, this is like an O3 goes in here, and then this goes in the GoPro mount, and then you just kind of plug it in here, and it's got a zip tie to keep the cord just in case you know rips off or something like that. But the main thing is I've used this design over and over and over again now. I am about to change it, but the ND filter slots in like a matte box, and you know it's TPU, so it's held together. But that's so much better than those Avada ND filters, and you can't push them on without your thumb. But yeah, I definitely like. It's really exciting to me to think about other people, especially other designers like you, and maybe even some bigger people, trying out some of these very different things. Whether or not what I do or what you do is better, that's to be said. I mean, people can't really take our word for it because we are selling our own stuff.
Well,
I wish Chris Rosser
it's
took
best
some
for
of that
you,
advice,
right?
but
It's best for me. It's best for like to me. I never like.
well, you know, I am making claims.
Yeah.
I'll just put myself in this category. I am making claims that like my Mech Roach is the best 3-inch, or I would say the best Cinewhoop for filming in the world.
And
Like that's my claim.
and
Okay,
you
and
do
so
that, right? And you do it a lot. Like I see with the Hack RC, this is the best, whatever, right?
it is though. But I stand behind that though. I fully
Yeah.
stand behind the Hack RC is just the absolute best.
So for
And
me,
maybe that's just my opinion. But then, who's going to prove me wrong? Shouldn't it be the people that are like the Captain Drones, Joshua Bardwell's, Mads Tech, like these people who are like the bastions of informing the FPV community? Because isn't that why people sub to their Patreon? Because think about it, if you're a guy and you want to get an FPV, you're going to go and you're going to look up some stuff because you want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth and you're not wasting your money. So isn't that like really their value, their service, why they demand a Patreon? Joshua Bardwell makes $10,000 a month from his Patreon. So, it's like why they have such a great service is partly in that. And I feel like that's what the biggest gripe I have with it is that's what's been completely abandoned and replaced with my thoughts are my own. Check out the new Radio Masters. See, look at this here. Buy this bind and fly. It's the best bind and fly of 2023.
That's drone camps, right? But like, for instance, I don't think any of us could even bloody fly if Joshua Bardwell wasn't there.
Well,
in a way,
I think
right?
that's a fallacy though, because if he wasn't there, someone else would fill that void, right? If there's someone's always going to fill the void. Maybe not.
Want
I mean, I
to.
think it's
Like, I wouldn't
point,
want to do what he does. You know what I mean? Like,
well, what he did is the point I'm making. He absolutely used to be a bastion of letting people, teaching and informing people, but that's just not what I see anymore. All I see anymore from people like him is product reviews.
Yeah.
Bind and fly, low effort, low quality manufactured drones. I mean, they're not even like reviewing some of the interesting drones, like the Red Kite, GoPro integrated. Have you seen that? Like, there's so many interesting designs going on right now. And it's just nothing but a bunch of the same old 5-inch train style bind and fly quads or a whoop here and there, 2.5-inch, 3-inch. It's all the same crap. And one has to beg, though, why? And well, here's my last kind of point. I don't know if you know this, but so you've been doing YouTube for 3 years and you have a great channel. And I think you've done really awesome things in FPV. Your designs are super slick. And I would definitely love to get one of my hands on them. But why don't you have 13,000 subscribers? Don't you know you just need to pay $200 to YouTube and they'll give them to you overnight, pretty much?
The thing is, YouTube is a whole other beast, and like I at least understand.
But it's so ingrained in the FPV because that is the channel that all of us. I mean, you said it yourself. If Joshua Bardwell didn't exist, none of us would have known FPV. Well, that is like in part because of YouTube. So YouTube has like such a influence over FPV, which is why some people say, okay, Dr. Quad, you're saying so many things about the FPV community, but like, no, I hang out with my local FPV guys and we have a great time. I'm not talking about like the FPV community as like us just hanging out. I'm talking about really specifically the YouTube FPV community or the kind of global social FPV community. And I think that's so important because that is what influences and has always influenced the most in FPV.
YouTube has changed a lot. Okay, so I'll just tell you, like, so anyone that started a long time ago, the way that because I study YouTube too, so I study the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
So what would happen a long time ago is that those videos would be served to way more people. So the way that YouTube works right now is it's kind of like a library. So if you make a video about anything and you put all the hashtags and you make it proper and you do all your SEO, then YouTube takes you and it puts you on a shelf. And the only way that anyone's going to see your content is if they look for it in that shelf. So the more SEO that you do, the more you kind of almost screw yourself over. On the other hand, if you make content that can kind of get more people and you don't put any SEO on it, so you don't put all those hashtags and whatever, then YouTube will have to find the audience for you. You see what I mean? So they'll show it to more people. And now, like, you can make your own stuff as much as you want, and most people do. Most people that try to succeed and fail and give up are because they're just doing their own thing. And then they get bothered. But now YouTube has a feature, like if you go into your research tab, you can see the topics that are searched. If you just make videos based off those topics, you'll grow way faster because you're doing what YouTube wants you to do.
But then why not just pay $200 and you can have 13,000 subscribers tomorrow? Or maybe take about a week or something.
The amount of subscribers, especially if they're fake, they won't watch your channel. And if they don't watch your channel, then it's just a vanity metric and it won't actually make you money anyways. Like you're better off with 1,000 people that
I
actually
I I
care
I I agree with you,
about
and
what
I
you're
won't do it
doing.
either, but I'm gonna have to tell you, it will make you money if you know how to leverage it, because now you go to those manufacturers and you say, "Hey, look at my channel. I got 15,000 subscribers. Look at all this stuff that I have. I want you to send me a couple stuff and I'll do some reviews for you." That's exactly what's going on, brother. That's exactly
Oh,
what's been going on for a
absolutely. That
while.
does go. But that's how the big ones kind of like can continue because it's, it's that thing going on. But now too people are getting smarter. Like you might be able to get away with that a couple times, but if you're not getting the views, then it doesn't matter. Then they'll stop sending to you. So that's the other thing. If you do it properly and you take your time and you grind and you grind and you go at it, eventually you build it the right way. And like
Yeah,
same thing with like lots of FPV companies. I've reached out to them too, and they basically said until you have 10,000 subscribers. When you have 10,000
yeah.
subscribers, then we'll start, doing something. But by the time you get that many subscribers and you're able to build
They
that
can't afford you
audience,
anymore.
well, then it's better for you to
Yeah,
just sell your own product. Why would you want
yeah,
to
yeah.
do things for those other like drone camps? I don't really watch any of drone camps videos because all of the drones are being shown in a positive light, and I kind of
Yeah.
like I like the kind of I don't like this. I don't like this product. I like kind of arguing a little bit or debating about what I like and don't like and not agreeing with everyone. Like cuz
Yeah.
you look at Peter McKinnon who's one of the biggest creators like on YouTube, and you can watch his videos all year long, and all year all he'll do is be positive. And it's nice to be positive, but not all of us are happy all the time, and some of us do get
Well, it's not
frustrated.
just that, but you know why he's being positive about all these products,
It's
right?
the
I mean,
best
Joshua
for
Bardwell said it in the
marketers.
stream with Lemon, affiliate marketing, because he makes most of his money from people clicking on the link and buying it. And if he shits on the product, people aren't going to want to buy it. But if he says this is the greatest this all the depression you have in your life will be solved if you just would have this awesome product that makes me really happy. This is what they're doing, and I think this is going to destroy FPV. It's so funny how Bot Grinder said that, right? Bot Grinder made that statement saying that this affiliate marketing business is going to destroy FPV, and I can't help but feel like the hand of Saron or something. Like I've been saying this for a while, and I specifically said this to Lemon. I specifically talked about this with Lemon when I was admin of the Betaflight Discord and before I had the big falling out. And now everyone's starting to kind of parrot a little bit, and it kind of feels like why are people talking about this now when it's been going on for so long? Is it because the people at the top are afraid that people are starting to wise up and they want to kind of get ahead of it, right? They want to get ahead of it a little bit. And maybe I'm being paranoid, but that's what it feels like. And so what do we do then? What do people do? I don't really know. I think that at the end of the day, we have to start educating the FPV audience to understand what quality is, right? Understand why your discus is better than the competition. But in order to understand that quality, we have to also, be willing to turn down a cheap momentary gain. Like, don't let Walmart come into your community because it'll kill all your small businesses in the community. And actually, in the long run, you'll be healthier if you don't have cheap shower curtains because your entire community will be healthier, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the concept, I guess.
If
And
I don't
that's a
like
tough. That's
something,
maybe that's a bit of a floaty ask, right?
if I don't
We
like
got to
something,
start
I'll say
somewhere.
I don't like it, right? Like, and
Yeah.
if that costs you a relationship, like, boo hoo, right? That's the cost of integrity. If you're gonna have
Yeah.
integrity, and like I've the whole reptile community hates me because I fed my snake with a drone, and I'm not sorry. I thought that was the greatest thing. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. So no one
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
make me feel bad about that because I don't feel bad about it. And like I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to sell my reptiles at reptile shows, which costs me about
Because of the
like
drone video?
because of stuff like that, because of just saying it as it is. I've always been that person where it's just like I'll say it as it is, and then it'll get me in trouble. Or I'll make a
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll make a joke that I think is funny and people think is distasteful. But it's just like to
Yeah.
me, lots of the time my humor is inappropriate, and I'm like, that's why I like it. Like when you go
Yeah.
watch a comedian, like you wanna
Yeah.
hear them cross that line. Like you want
Yeah.
free me from the
Yeah.
oppression, right?
Absolutely.
Free me from it.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and like
No, I can get behind that.
everyone got mad at like
Yeah.
Mr. Steele when he talked crap about Chris Rosser's drone. Like it would have been
What did he?
better.
What did Mr. Steele say about his
Well, it would
drone?
have
Which
been better
one?
if he
Was that
gave it a
recently?
bit more of a chance, but he just kind of looked at it and was like, kind of like, this is crap. But the thing is that, like, for me, I'm not saying the Discus is the best drone. I'm saying the Discus is my favorite drone. It's the best drone for me. And that's like
Yeah.
where my claims come, because I have given my Discus to someone else and had them say it's twitchy, or like they didn't like how it flew, and
Yeah.
that's okay too. Like, I think that it's okay for everyone to like and dislike whatever they want. That's our freedom, right? If 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 I throw my rates on a drone and you don't like them, and you throw your rates on a drone and I don't like them, like, we all have that right, and we can all kind of respectfully disagree with each other and say, you know what, that's
Yeah.
bullcrap, right? And I like having people that we can do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Oh,
that
my
doesn't
wife's making fun of
that
me.
definitely is not welcome in FPV. As much as I agree with you, that's not welcomed.
Well,
That's definitely not welcome. Now, well,
but
hopefully we change it, but yeah.
so some people find this community very toxic, and I find it actually like hilarious, because like, coming from the reptile community, where it's like, do you have kids? Do you have a child or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Three
So,
three kids.
yeah, so imagine someone starts saying things about your children. Like, that can get you really offended, really bothered quickly. That can
Yeah,
get
yeah,
someone
yeah.
so fast. So with reptiles, it's the same thing. They're your pets. So people can be so cruel to you and mean to you, like they say, like, oh, you have to do it this way, and if you don't, you're wrong and you're an animal abuser, you're like all
You're
these
an animal
things.
abuser.
Yeah, so coming from a world that is actually so toxic and so personal,
Mm.
going into the
Yeah,
FPV world and listening to 30, 40-year-old men bicker about toy drones is hilarious. Like, it doesn't
yeah,
hurt me, it doesn't affect me emotionally. Like, I look at it like kindergartens in a toy box with the sand. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand how you can get like emotionally bothered over. So
yeah.
we're
Which
just
find and
enjoying
fly is good or
flying.
bad.
We're in,
I can get behind that. Yeah.
like, we get to
I
fly.
think,
Like,
specifically, talking about kids, there is a notion of FPV is such an amazing thing. We both, said flying, flying, the ability to fly, and the engineering aspects of it. And for me, as an ex-teacher, I do look at it as something a little bit more than maybe. Well, I definitely think it's more than just 40-year-old men bickering about toys. It is such an amazing way to get kids out of video games,
yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
really, I believe, going to be necessary in the future. And so I see it as that. So I see it a little bit more like maybe not what it is, but what it could be. And it's so sad to see that it is just being complete. I mean, like, you look at all these reviewers, most of them are 40, 50, 60-year-old men. I mean, look at Captain Drone. I think he's the most disgusting example. He's like 60 something years old, shilling shit to kids. It's like, how disgusting can that? I mean, that's such a perversion of what an old person should be. An old person should be old, wise, guiding the youth, helping them along their journey. You think about the hero's journey, right? The trope of the hero's journey, and you have like one aspect of it is the mentor, the mentor's help, where the mentor will help the hero off on his journey in the right path. The Gandalf kind of character. But I see an FPV that's just such a perversion of that. It's just like Pan's Labyrinth, that old guy with the hands and the eyes, like he's just devouring children. That's what these reviewers are doing. Because if you're a kid, I mean, how many students contact me saying, hey, I want to buy your drone? A lot of these college kids, high school kids, they don't got money. They're scraping by. So, there is an aspect of, yes, it's just a toy for these 40-year-olds who have a pension or have, their day job or something. But when you're talking about the younger generation getting into FPV, that might be all they have. Right. And so if they put that money into something that's going to let them down, and you knew it was going to let them down and you promoted it anyways, to me, that's unacceptable. That goes beyond just like 40-year-olds arguing about toys. That goes into the realm of just destroying the health and the space that's not ours anymore. We're exiting our youth. We're going into the twilight years. That's fine. Hopefully we do it with grace. But the kids coming after us, they deserve a clean slate at bare minimum, not some disgusting, old people just
Disgusting.
grabbing, at whatever dollars these kids have. And that's exactly what they're doing. You look at the drones that are most successful, the Stargazer, these kinds of toy drones. They are toys because they're marketed for children, essentially. And I can't, that shit pisses me off so much, I
Curry
really get hot
Kitten?
over that. You know that.
Curry Kitten
Go
isn't
ahead.
your favorite simulator?
Oh, jeez.
Wait, just tell me, did you buy it? Did you try
No, gosh, no, never. I haven't flown a simulator since forever ago. I don't see the point in a simulator. To me, is just to learn so that you don't break your stuff right out the gate. And then after that, just go fly. Get a whoop. Get a tiny little 2.5 inch or 3 inch or something like that. Go fly it
We
around.
have
That's
winter.
what I use to
We
practice.
have winter. Remember,
Huh?
there's winter. Winter in
Well,
Canada.
yeah, but like, why not? How about this? I'm gonna send you my 1S little tiny trainer guy, and you can get it cut and stuff like that. It's you got a 3D printer, but that's what you do, man. You fly inside, just do little laps around your head or something.
I don't know.
Are you
I
not impressed?
see. Let me just go through these because we talked now a lot about the things. So we
Yeah,
talked about
true.
center and
We
gravity,
definitely got to get
circles
through some of
and
this chat.
triangles. We hardest part about being a designer. Well, the pursuit of being better. The hardest part of being a designer too, like with all the realizing that we can't, you know, produce what we want to because we're not manufacturers of everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
okay, so 10th question is what would you say is your biggest strength and greatest weakness?
Oh man, is this a job interview? Because I feel like I've answered this one before. I am definitely very emotional. I take things to heart
Yeah.
too
You're
much,
sensitive. You're a
right? Like
sensitive man.
I'm a sensitive guy. I guess so. I do care. I care deeply about things, but that's a double-edged sword because then I am hurt deeply by things that maybe, let's say, I shouldn't be hurt by. Um, so I think that's my greatest weakness. It causes a lot of difficulty in my life. I recognize that. My greatest strength, I think, is I don't even think it's about from me necessarily. I think it's just really that I don't know. I'm able to catch the wind every now and then. I just feel like this idea, and then I'm able to kind of just catch it out and put it down. I'm pretty good at that, and I think you've kind of touched on that too. Like it's not so much scientific; it's more of a feel. You start feeling something, and you're like, "Oh yeah," and then it kind of just materializes. So maybe that's what we're good at is kind of materializing dust in the wind, and then suddenly it becomes something. And I think that's definitely something I wish I had honed earlier in my life. I think I'd be in a lot different, a much different place now if I had honed that earlier in my life.
Yeah,
Which
well,
is why I really tell kids don't play video games. Waste all your potential.
but the thing is that when we're older, I think that like creative and artistic. I've always been creative and artistic. I think you are too. But at a young age, would we be able to have the discipline that we have now? Like at this age now, I feel like all of a sudden I feel like I can do everything that I was never able to do when I was little because I couldn't like concentrate or really drive on anything.
Yeah,
Whereas like now I can,
yeah,
and I feel like now it's just like, damn, I wish I had more time. I'd never have enough time to do anything because I got so many
yeah.
things that I want to do. Whereas when I was a kid, all I was doing was drugs and
Video
bad
games,
things.
goofing off, yeah, partying, wasting your time. It's fine. I always say this, and this is a funny little thing I came up with. When you're young, you have all the time in the world, but you don't have the discipline. When you're old, you have all the discipline, but you don't have time. Well, I think that maybe that's kind of just that's the human's journey. But I think at the same time, why I'm so hopeful for FPV because I believe FPV has just the perfect balance between goofing off and having fun and like kind of requiring you to take things more seriously and dedicate yourself to something. And I just see it as the perfect antidote to the epidemic of kids just being distracted by other things. Right. And because I know I try to donate my time as much as possible to kids that are interested in FPV. Every time I go to the park, I'll get some dad or some kid or something like that, then they get my WeChat and then they're always coming over here getting me to fix drones for them and stuff like that. But I really love it. And I see these kids when they're flying FPV or when they're focused on FPV, they're a lot more focused than when they're not. And you go see them, you see them and they're playing there on their phone or something like that. Everyone has League of Legends and PUBG on their phone here. And these kids will just you go to like a restaurant, you see all these kids just playing PUBG and stuff 24/7. When they're in school, they're thinking about it, right? But I feel like FPV is an antidote to that. And so, it's really amazing. The ability to fly. Can you ever have imagined when you were young that you'd be able to stick on some goggles and fly around like a freaking acrobat in the air? This is a really special thing that's no small Like it's no small addition to our ability as humans, and so I think there's something a bit sacred about it,
It's an
right?
out of
Especially
body
when it comes to
experience.
yeah.
Like when
DJI, got to give them credit. They really just revolutionized. I know they're not the first, but they revolutionized people's ability to interact with what was pretty much just an engineer's like tinkery, fun little thingamajobber. It became standard.
if you're standing and diving down a building, it's like you feel it. You get that like jolly, like going on a roller coaster. And it's like just the tickling of your special parts.
It's
as
I mean, like
down a
do you when you're doing that kind of stuff, do you start getting like your legs start kind of going out? I do. I still do.
If I sit down, no, but if I stand up, if I stand up, I feel it.
Yeah. Bob from California says, "Yeah, Drone Camp screwed me on a drone review. Ended up stripping all the parts and making my own." Yeah. Well, Bob, you're like a fantastic 3D printer. There's really no reason why you should be buying a fly, bro. That's the price. If I buy my own stuff, I can say what I want. But if I get a review unit, I'm limited. Well, not necessarily. I think I'm actually the gold standard for that because I actually have gotten quite a lot of stuff from these manufacturers, and I just tell them straight up, I'm not going to show your product. I'm going to put your product in a fantastic drone on a channel with integrity, or in a channel with like quality, and then it's not just about like you're getting a hit right now from this video, buy this thing, but you're more like you're juxtaposing your brand next to quality. The same concept with like F1 cars and stuff, like Ford versus Ferrari. This manufacturer of this part wants you to use it in this great car that you're going to be doing because they know that you're like a high class designer for Ferrari. So they want to juxtapose their brand next to quality. And that's what I've always told the manufacturers. And so crazy enough, it seems like the best manufacturers, the ones that I would want to work with, get behind that, whereas the cheap ass ones don't. And honestly, I think that's just good. It falls into your feet now, guys, is that it's up to you to start putting your money where your mouth is. If people that you respect and with integrity promote products and like diss other products, well, and yet you go to AliExpress or you go to Banggood and you see, oh, but these Fling Flong motors are really great, and Chris Rosser said they're the best, or Captain Drone said they're the best, and they're $10 cheaper than the motors that Toronto FPV or Dr. Quad said was really good. Don't save the $10. Don't save the $10. Vote with your wallet, and that's how we start promoting great companies. I don't know what's going on with Brother Hobby, but I think they might have quit or gone out of business. I don't know what's going on with them, but they won't even sell me motors anymore. And it's like they were one of the best manufacturers out there. They tuned, if you see it from the video, I don't know if you saw. I went to the Brother Hobby's factory.
I saw.
They tuned their motors to 4 milligrams of accuracy, whereas even motors that I love, T-Motor, apparently only tuned to 8. The lower you go, the more accurate the balance is on the motor, right? But
see,
it was impossible to sell. I still have Brother Hobby motors in stock.
I just wish that they made I do like how the what are they, Zings and whatever, how they're uni. I think they all should be Unibell because it's annoying for them to come apart. But
yeah.
Other than that, I found the Brother Hobbies super smooth. And there's another guy, what does he go by? Recursion. So Recursion FPV, and he's done a whole pile of tests more into sub 250 and found that the T-Motor 1404s are really good. But everything's different. Like right now, what I want to do, because I'm putting stacks that belong sometimes in 5 inches into my little 3.5, just to have solid electronics. I don't know if you've seen Phoenix FPV, but he's my favorite pilot to watch. He's a Spanish guy, and he's flying analog, and he's flying a fly color ESC with a Rush analog flight controller, and I just want to take his setup, stick it in my drone, and see what that feels like, just to know what it feels like, and stuff like that.
You're flying 3.5 inch 4S?
I fly 3.5 4-inch.
Have you tried the Heck RC 40 amp?
I've almost. I've been talking to Neuron, so I've been kind of wanting to test that too. And then
oh, Neuron FPV, right?
Yeah, I want to try those cheap ones and just see what that feels like.
X8, don't they?
Yeah.
They have a lot of weird.
Yeah, well, you don't need. I wouldn't bother with the X8 stuff, but just testing out some of those things, and then see the the other thing is that I always like if I'm going to use something that I can sell, I want to be able to get an affiliate link, right? So if I can't get an
Yeah,
affiliate link for something and something else I can, automatically I'm going to
yeah,
try and use the thing that has the affiliate link. Still, I want it to be good.
yeah.
Still, I want to like it. But to not be able to even have that opportunity, then it's like, so I'm just going to give them, business for the sake of it. Like, it's like, I think that at least having that
That's definitely
opportunity.
falling at their feet
So,
right now.
so it's
There
like,
needs to be something done about it, but yeah,
so
some of the best companies don't have affiliate links.
yeah, exactly. So it's just I want to find the best thing that I can still make a couple bucks off. Like I think that that's fair, even
Yeah.
if like because there's some people that will look at it and be like, "Oh, why are you sending me affiliate links or whatever?" It's just like, why wouldn't I?
I
And if
I would say I gotta stand behind that. I would get behind that as well, just because, well, it may make you a couple bucks, but it's kind of like it's digging the same ditch that's gotten us here in the first place, you
well,
know?
you don't
So
want to give
there's no end
anyone
in sight.
you don't want to give anyone
Go
something
ahead.
bad, right? But like for instance, like Beta FPV, I don't think they have the greatest electronics, but then I
Yeah,
also
I hate it.
at the same time, how can everyone get like no one can get all those things for cheaper and be able to start flying? Like the Beta Pro 75 to me.
No, but see, I gotta disagree with that. I mean, like, if you're just an FPV to try out a drone, then Beta FPV probably is the right choice for you. It's super cheap. But you will end up spending more money in the long run if you stick with FPV. If you keep going with FPV, you'll end up spending a lot more money in the long run. First off, hopefully you actually learn really quickly that you need to start putting your money into quality parts and quality charger, quality batteries, yada yada yada. But then if you might have to learn that through trial and error and through pain, like Bob said. But ultimately, if you get good components that are reasonably priced, like the Hack RC40 amp AIO, stuff like that, that's really great, that's reasonably priced. You get good components and good controller. You get like stuff that's going to set you up for the year or the next 2 years or even longer of your journey in FPV. Then you might have to spend more money in at the gate, but you'll be saving a lot of money and learning quality right off the bat, which just saves you your future self, right? And I think the real epidemic of especially America is that we're just selling out our future selves and our children's future selves. We're just selling it all out for momentary gain. Like we're all so focused on the quarterly profits that there's a long-term rot settling in that's going to end up costing us more in the future. So that's what I'm saying. Like we need to start being a little bit more like maybe suffer a little like deferred gratification, right? Like, don't just get gratified right now.
But lots of
Try
people
to kind
don't
of plan for the future a little bit.
understand that. Like so if you take a new person,
Yeah.
right? You take a brand new person, like lots of people do want to fly digital. I'm weird in that way because I've flown everything and I push more kind of towards analog. But
Yeah.
that's something totally like in itself. But like for instance, my buddy Eric, I just got him in and I got like I made a video every year. I make a video about like just the cheapest stuff that you can get and still have a decent time. So he spent about $500, a little bit over that. He got two 75 Pro whoops. He got the goggles that were like $60. He got the batteries, the charger, everything from Beta FPV. From that, he's able to fly. He's able to experience it. He likes it, and now he actually wants to get more. But he would have never spent the money that it would cost to get into, let's say, digital or whatever in the first place. And the one thing that I do say is don't get the Beta FPV radio, right? Get a Radio Master Pocket. Get something that's actually a good radio because the radio is the most important first thing for you to get. And then
Yeah.
from there, eventually you're going to get better goggles, but someone going in isn't going to want to spend $500-600 just on a pair of goggles, especially when they've
But I
never
think you really nail it
experienced
too.
it.
Like, get a really good radio. Do not cheap on the
Yeah,
radio.
get a
Yeah.
good radio,
Yeah.
and the Pocket is insanely good value. And I fly the Pocket myself. Like that's my main. I held a Boxer and I held a Pocket, and I was gonna get the Boxer because I'm just like the 1 watt and everything. But I was just like, this thing feels so big and heavy. I like the tiny little like even
Yeah.
with my Pocket. What I did is I shaved, like I took a grinder and I took off the tips of the sticks so that they're shorter. Because when the stick is shorter, it's easier for your thumb to go to full throttle. When it's longer,
Yeah, yeah.
you're straining your thumb to get that far. So it's like
Oh, you're a thumber.
yeah,
I'll
but
send you a print. I'll send you a print. I got some thumb dooley flappers to print and slap on that bad boy.
I don't do this. I do this. Like
Yeah, more like
I use the
yeah.
tips of my thumb.
Have you? I mean, honestly, that looks a lot like the Jumper T20S. I'm super hard on the Jumper T20S now.
See, I got
I've used
the
pretty
original
much.
Jumper T Lite, me and my friend, and both of them broke
Oh,
within a month,
terrible.
and they were just terrible
Yeah.
service, terrible everything. So I just said
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy another Jumper product. If they want to send me one, great.
I get behind that.
But it's
Yeah,
just like
I
both
understand.
of them broke, and they told us to like go inside and desolder this piece or something, and it's just like it. And the springs were clicky. I hate clicky springs, and it's just
Yeah.
the Radio
No, I
Master.
get behind that. I love the Jumper T20S, but I've heard a lot of people say that about Jumper, and the day that they do that to me, they're gonna have it's gonna be a hard lesson they're gonna have to learn. Like, hopefully they keep with the quality of the Jumper T20S and keep up with that, because the quality is
It
pretty
looks
good, at
cool.
least in
Like
my
it reminds
perspective.
me of Star Wars. Like I love that
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of robo kind of or
yeah. Like
old
the
school classic
analog.
airplane.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
love the
yeah.
look
Like,
of it. It does look very good.
it's
Uh,
mostly like how it fits my backpack, and the pocket seems like exactly what I want, but I just can't get away from CNC gimbals. Once you go AG01, it's really tough to go
Well,
back.
they're gonna make
You
them. They're
know.
gonna make CNCs for
Yeah.
the Pocket, so I'm gonna
Radio
get
Master's
those.
gimbals are definitely like the best, and their ELRS system is the best,
Yeah,
like bar none that I've ever tried. I don't like the company because they're assholes, but their products are great, and I still buy them. So yeah,
I haven't broke those EP2s. I've destroyed
yeah,
everything on a quad, but I've
yeah,
never broke
they're
one of those
great.
EP2s.
They're
They're
the best.
tiny. They're light. They make it
Perfect.
1,000 feet into the air, and that's all I need.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like, Radio Master ELRS system, as much as I do not like the company, I will buy those ELRSs all day, every day, because they're just so good. I have the same experience with them. They do not break. They're just amazing. Wait, sorry. Megarita says, I wanted the Pocket, but why the F did they put a lower power ELRS? That's why I like the Jumper T20S. Honestly, I feel like maybe that's just what the options you have in front of you. The Pocket, cheaper, smaller, more portable. If you don't need that ELRS to be 1 watt, then that's your best bet. But if you do, the Jumper T20S is, or even just the T20 if you don't need the upgraded gimbal, the upgraded gimbals.
Well, do those gimbals feel
Yeah.
amazing? Those CNC?
I like the Jumper T20S gimbals better than the AG01. I've used the AG01s, which were great, and I've used the AG01 minis, which were not the greatest, but they were all right. They were definitely better than everything else out there. But now that I've tried the Jumper T20S gimbals, I'm like, oh,
And are
these are
they
the
full
ones.
size?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't. To be honest, I don't know. Let me show you.
And how much are they?
Yeah. Here's the gimbally flimbles. Do I have? Oh, here. Let me do something real quick. Let me be all super fancy. Deactivate, activate. Oh, it'd help if I turn my camera on. Oh, shush. Hey, I just got a package. Package just arrived. Okay, here we go.
Show us all your package. Open it right now.
There we go. Definitely. Okay, there we go. So now you can see my desktop. Oh, crap. I hope it's ND on. Okay, there we go. So here's the gimbals. I guess these are full size. Do you see it?
Yeah, looks nice. Star
Okay.
Wars reminds me of
Yeah.
Darth Vader's face.
But you can see here, I had to put this bar on because the center of gravity is absolutely atrocious. So, but it's
I only use the necklace to run away quickly.
Well, I glued it down so that it doesn't dangle, because I really like being able to put it in my backpack without things catching on it, right? But this is definitely my favorite controller I've ever used. But there's a couple gripes. One of them being this right here. These buttons are horrendous. They're horrendous.
Are those
They're so terrible.
notch switches though?
No,
on
it's
the
just like a
tops?
click in. But it's like it doesn't just click all the way in. It's like clicking down like that. So if you press it right here, it just it doesn't go.
So you just
You have to
ignore
click
those
it right here.
switches.
I pretty much this is my beeper, which I never use, but yeah, it's my beeper. These switches are great though.
Are they
These switches
double or triple? One double, one triple?
these ones are triple right here, and these ones are just on and off.
So I do something funny with my so see this? The triple switch.
Yeah.
So my arm, this is arm.
Oh, hold on. I'm not looking at you.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no,
Yes.
you're right over there.
So this is arm.
I'm dumb. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so this is
I'm like,
arm.
what's wrong with me?
Arm
Yeah.
here, and then this is arm and turtle at the same time.
Why?
So when you do like whoop races and you're armed, instead of having to disarm and arm and turtle, you just go click and now you're turtled. But it like
Oh, that's clever.
but it messes
Okay.
people up
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes because it's like when if you have an accident or something you need to disarm, you can't, you have to be careful not to turtle it, but it's like that's one of my little fast tricks for whoop nonsense. And then I like to put the other three switch. I like to put 3 different rates so I can just test different rates and keep like
Oh,
experimenting.
I'm like, I have my rates I've used for every single drone except the 5-inch. I finally changed it. I'm super into like the same rates. It's really weird for me to do anything else.
I
can't do
experimenting
that.
all the time.
Yeah. What's your go-to roll rate? I think is a real indicator of how you fly.
800. So
Yeah.
I'm in actual rates, and I basically it's like
Yeah.
center sensitivity is like 220, then 800, then 0.5. Then the next line is 180, 800, 0.5, and the next one is 160, 700, 0.5. So
What's your yaw? Well, do you do lots of indoor flying?
See, basically in the winter I do the whoop races because I just it's fun to be with the people and stuff. So plus I think that racing, just like even doing it in the sim, it makes you a better like you said, like instead of video games, you can actually do sim, and that's going to transfer to being a better pilot. And when you do racing, like to me, racing isn't about like being the best, especially when there's people like Min Chen, and it's like, what's the point? So like I know I'll never be that good. So racing though does give you better control, better, like it makes you better at reaction and control, and I think it makes you a much better freestyle pilot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I race for
also makes you better at like recovering from stuff like bad situations, right? Yeah.
So I do enjoy racing, but I don't ever like racing is always going to be fun for me. It's never going to be something that I really want to get into competitively because I've done a lot of things in the past competitively, competitive hairdressing, competitive card games, where then you're paying money to fly to places to do stuff that's fun, but it just wastes your money and you don't get anything out of it really except for fun. And so I look at racing as just like enjoyable, but you know, if there's something else that I have to do that's important, like lots of the races are on Saturday and I have a hair salon, so on Saturdays I have to be at the hair salon, so I miss out on all those races. But they would just cost me money, whereas the salon makes me money.
Yeah, true.
We're adults
what
now,
do you do, right? Yeah, that's not a hard decision there. So like, I'm obviously a lot more towards cinematic flying.
Oh yeah,
well, we're which totally is its own different. Beast,
but similar. Like when I see your drones, I see weight. Like I see really good flying, but I just want to make your drone like so much lighter.
You know, you'd actually, for my type of flying, the weight's good because it helps stabilize it. You know, in the wind. Yeah, it's steady.
And I get that. So we are totally two different styles.
Take a look at this and let me know what you think, because you know I obviously am not a freestyle pilot, but yesterday I was trying to do some stuff to kind of push my 5-inch to a place where people could say, hey, that's good or bad. But yeah, here, take a look. Let me show you this. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, so here's the okay. I gotta like press 2 buttons here. Virtual camera. That is the wrong one. Desktop. There it is. Okay, desktop. Okay, so now you can see my desktop. So here is my flight yesterday with my 5-inch. Oh geez, this is not going to play properly. Sorry. These files are way too compressed.
It's all good.
I
You
need to
send me a
use.
link and I'll watch it later and talk. My wife
I
is.
haven't even uploaded it yet. Oh
Oh,
crap!
okay.
I haven't actually even uploaded this yet.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold up. I don't have to watch all. It's actually just raw
Yes,
flight footage.
raw is good.
Yeah. Okay. Hasn't been edited in any way. Dual screen.
And
Off. There we go.
I don't usually stabilize anyways.
Does this feel heavy to you? Wait, where's the freaking sound? Wait, what?
I'm almost done, Mama.
Whatever. Okay. Oops.
Make it full screen.
Yeah. Does this feel heavy to you?
Let me
Because
see.
I obviously want to know like what people who fly freestyle quads think about a drone like this. But for me, maybe it's just because I'm used to flying whoops. I'm pretty impressed that this thing can fly a GoPro 11 and do power loops. Is that like a standard thing for 5 inches? I don't know. What kind of flying do people usually do with like a full-size
See,
GoPro?
for me, I'm not, like, I have a GoPro 10 that I haven't stripped yet because I'm scared of killing
Yeah.
it. So I'd probably be doing
No, it's very scary.
more smooth stuff too. And you don't have Rocksteady on it? This is just straight
No,
out,
this is
straight out of the thing.
Gyroflow. Here, I can show you
Okay, yeah,
the trouble is that these GoPro files are so compressed that they're really difficult to play, especially when I'm streaming.
Yeah.
Because your CPU has to decode them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see bigger.
Here is the unstabilized. A little bit of bounce back there. I'm gonna have to raise the D gain. I haven't tuned this quad yet.
Like
I
your
haven't had
drones
time.
do move well.
The little wobble right there. This is something I know how to tune out of a
But you're also
of
doing
a
like you're doing bigger movements too, right? So bigger movements are smoother, and like you see like in the turn you see the weight. Like when you do a long
Yeah.
power loop, that's automatically going to be smoother anyways, right? If you do a shorter one, then you start seeing the weight wiggle it around, right? Which doesn't
Yeah.
really matter for your type of flying. Any like you're doing these long smooth things, so that weight and stuff helps you keep it steady. For me, if
Yeah,
I'm
keep that
flying something
momentum.
like that and I'm doing more quicker movements, the weight is it's going to do different things. Like when you're doing these long, smooth turns, that's going to kind of work with it better for what you're doing and what your drone does. But if you do those same movements quicker, you're going to be affected by not having the momentum into the move, right? Like when you have a momentum and you carry that into a move, the momentum keeps you smoother than see like when you all of a sudden turn it quicker, you'll have the weight pulling your drone down differently.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to tune this bad boy, which I'm not looking forward to.
But
Ugh.
for your
I
style,
really hate
like
tuning.
if you're not doing that stuff, it doesn't really like matter, right? Like big power loops and long smooth drift sessions. Like with my drone, it might shake more or something, especially when the props, like I fly my thing until the props fall off, right?
Yeah.
But you do see
Mm.
like the whole top bottom thing, right? You're flying mostly like this. You'll still have that top bottom, but yours will be very smooth for what you do. You built something for what you do, right? And then I built
Yeah.
something for what I
True.
do, which is totally different. So it doesn't have to do what I want it to do. It doesn't really have to please me. Like your drones fly surprisingly smooth for how much you have on them.
I think that also, that also actually helps a little bit. If you have the center of gravity right and there's more weight, then you are actually just going to be really stable because it's not having to correct the heavy weight. The heavy weight is actually just helping keep it in the correct, orientation. I don't know about the center of gravity.
Well, you're flying also
so
at
much.
are you flying at a 20-degree angle?
About 15, 20
Okay.
is what I usually
Yeah,
fly
so
at. Yeah.
15 to 20. And I know, like, I noticed that too. Like, lots of people don't realize how much, like, when you start, angle doesn't really help you. When you fly more, angle helps you because then you don't have to worry about pitching as much. And like
Yeah,
for you,
yeah.
20 is good for smooth. Like for me, I'm usually flying at 45 degrees. So it, it's totally
I think the center of gravity on this is not perfect on
different.
top to bottom now that
W-
I'm looking at
Well,
it. Like
not
you
with
got
the
the prop line
GoPro.
right here. Yeah, not with the GoPro.
Not
Maybe
with the
that's why the
GoPro.
first time. Oh yeah, here, real quick. I'll show you, and this is why I know I need to tune it. But when I first flew this thing without stabilization on it, also it's in super view mode, which is right off the bat means that. Oh, sorry, let me pull this into DaVinci. Um, okay, here we go. Yeah, unfortunately, OBS, when I change the camera, I have to also change it to show you as well. It's super annoying, but okay. So here's the drone without a GoPro and no stabilization, no gyro flow. And I was really impressed with it.
No,
Sticking on the GoPro, I can tell that the tune isn't that great. So maybe I just got to tune it better, or maybe I think you're right. The
the other
GoPro really
thing,
throws the center of
the
gravity
other
off.
thing with
Go
that
ahead.
quad is like, okay, so the way you designed it so there's no props in view when you're flying,
Yeah.
right?
Gotta not have props.
But because of that, that throws off your whole center of gravity thing. And then when you put the GoPro up there in the front, that makes it even more unbalanced. So, like for me, I don't mind props in view because, like, for me, it's more about just performance. It's not about the cinematic stuff.
Yeah. Also, I'm a shit pilot when it comes to freestyle. I got a lot of practicing to do.
But you do long. You
That's,
still
I
like
really wish I could get this in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing.
you do long, clean lines, right? Like so, it's kind of relaxing. It's smooth. It's nice. It looks good. It's visually appealing. For me, I'm more like idiot jet pilot.
Yeah. I hope I can. I hope I can get this thing to where I need to, but
Well,
who knows?
it looks good for me. Like personally, I just like I think of like you called it a train. I call it a coffin. Like I just think so
Yeah,
many drones look like coffins. That middle part is so long in the back and so long in the front. And if you make it that long
yeah,
to get no props in view, then you have to make it long in the back to balance it out. So to me, like personally, I would make it as tight as possible to have the GoPro have no props in view, but not worry about the props in view on the actual feed because you're using a GoPro anyways. And from that, you'll end up having a better center of gravity, more balance between the front and
yeah,
back, and a better flying quad.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
but you would have
Well,
props in view.
here's the thing: tomorrow may change everything, and this is something you might want to really peek into. Tomorrow, it's coming, DJI 04, and I've heard some pretty crazy stuff about it. It
Nice.
may just replace the need for a GoPro.
Yeah.
It's also taken. Apparently, what people are saying is it's kind of took inspiration from the Ronin 4D, so you can detach the camera. And so the idea is like having a chunkier O3, so it's heavier than the O3, but the camera can be placed in. It's like you could put the weight of that O3 somewhere, and then the camera can be kind of jettisoned out to wherever you need it. But if the DJI 04 replaces the need for the GoPro, I believe it's going to really, and it's going to be much more expensive too. Remember that, like this is going to really increase the cost of a drone, but that could be good for people like us because now we have the opportunity of really being creative with our designs and getting perfect center of gravities and stuff, right?
We're gonna do this again,
Without,
but I have to go. The wife is here and she's
okay,
waiting.
definitely. That's okay. I
But
got to
it
pee
was
so
nice.
bad.
I hope that everybody like, and it was really fun talking to you. I really enjoy you as a
Yeah,
person, as a creator, and all that stuff. So I hope we get to. We'll do it again for sure.
absolutely, brother.
And if there's like other like pilots or builders that you'd recommend, send me their links in Facebook. I hate Discord. I'll do
Yeah,
this with you like anytime, right? Because it works. But like
yeah,
I just Discord, I don't know why I don't see it the same. If you send me a message ever on Facebook, like I get it like instantly. It's a quick, easy
okay,
way to talk, and I like want to do this with more people that are kind of like us, and have these discussions and kind of it's really fun. And it's like I've felt very kind of alone in all this because I don't have like I did it all like a journey kind of by myself from watching YouTube videos. So to find someone else like you, it's kind of I think it's encouraging for both of us because we're both passionate about
absolutely.
it. So
You gotta get in Discord though, man, because that's the best way to share ideas and stuff, though. You know, because we got a group chat, we got little channels. You know,
I'm
you could
too
like, oh, let's do
lazy,
this
man.
idea.
It's like Instagram. Everyone looks at other people's Instagram. Like I'm trying to keep up with my 3 YouTube channels. I daily vlog, and then I have 100 snakes to take
That is a
care
lot.
of, and a hair salon, and a child, and a wife. So, you know how it is with the family and stuff. So,
Indeed.
yeah,
absolutely.
super.
Well, Toronto, let me not keep you. It was awesome having you guys. Can we drop here? Hopefully, I can do this real fast. Let's drop his video, his channel in the chat right now.
And I stuck for people that are watching mine. His is in the description. So subscribe to Dr. Quads and all that fun stuff too. Okay.
I appreciate it, brother.
See ya.
Catch you next time, man. Catch you next time. I'm gonna go pee, guys, and I'll be back, and I'll be with the